We are live.
Commander's log, start a 543995. We've been in pursuit of the Romulan and Warbird Malar for the past 10 days across Federation space. The Malar and our commander Vinek was apparently evolved in a delaying action, keeping us from our rendezvous at Starbase 21 to some success, holding us up for nearly 6 hours. We currently have the Romulan commander who has surrendered herself under the aegis of Asylum in one of our diplomatic suites. And it's while her warbird tears across Federation space under a cloak. Most of the 10th Expeditionary fleet is too far away or on a mission to render assistance. However, the USS Arderel reports that they spotted the warbird near the Algo system, only a short warp away from our current location. While this would delay us from getting to Starbase 21 and retrieving the Trinimbus generator, we will be pursuing the Malar to find out their true intentions to steepen in Federation space. End log.
And at the top, before I go into the first scene, we can probably resolve real quick. As I recall, Commander Ray did make a call out to the fleet in general, trying to get someone to assist them with this. And basically, it's going to be a presence. That's a little louder than I intended. A little quieter, please. There you go. It's going to be a presence command role, except you will call out. You basically call ahead of time how high difficulty you're shooting for, from 1 to 5, and if you make the roll, the higher the difficulty, the bigger or more numerous ships will have appeared. If you miss it, it's found by a ship, but they won't be terribly helpful if you get into an engagement with the Romulan Warbird.
Okay.
Would this be something I'd be able to assist with because I didn't sit off the initial report to Starbase 21?
Someone could assist with it, yeah, basically trying to write up a report with enough urgency to go, look, I know you're all busy,
Oh man,
but somebody help us. We're chasing this guy across Federation space. This is an issue.
And this is a Derrick's class. We're in New Orleans, and we're not going to be able to tangle with this thing one-on-one.
Okay, I guess I'll assist you then if you'll have me.
I'll have you. With your assistance.
He kind of gets a little disappointed when he realizes he has to file a report to help you with this.
And the ship will help with communications plus command. And also, I'll note that this is something that happened during the 10 days. So what the result of it at the end of it is, what will happen will reflect what the ship, the Enderil, is.
Okay. On that case, President's Command, do I get a focus in persuasion?
I could give it to you, yeah.
Okay. I'm also gonna use my determination for the night. There's always more to the story. I want to find out what the hell the Malar's up to.
I think this is a record. First roll.
I've even left the title screen.
Yeah, it's not even technically in this game.
I figured I haven't used it over the past 2 episodes. Now it's time to start picking up my slack.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. My rule of thumb is if it's 10:30 and I ain't spent it yet, then I'm looking. You know, even if I'm having to spend it on replicating a taco, I'm gonna do it.
That's about what I get out. I start like, wait, it's really late in the game. Is there anything I could do?
My question is, why do you have a focus that applies to replicating a taco?
Okay.
Death or dishonor. If you fail to replicate the good taco, then you know family is dishonored. You gotta
Okay.
just
Oof.
Swinging for the fences. Target is 5. Assist by Ship and Bane. Well, I guess the Tereshkova is going to show up now. They're busy at the moment. For good and ill.
if we
If we crit fail, does that mean we get a runabout?
the
1, 2, 3.
Tereshkova could come if it keeps me out of a war crimes trial.
Nice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 2
Wait,
more. You gained
that was-
2 momentum.
That was insight. What was it supposed to be?
Presence.
Oh, well, that's
But
even,
I think with a 2, you'd make it.
that's even better. Yeah. Well, it's the same thing.
So roll for the ship. Boop, boop. Oops.
My assist in this was probably a report detailing how we're not equipped to take on a Diderdix.
Yeah, that would probably be helpful. Okay, ship's communication. What?
Command.
Nice.
Oh my goodness! Yes.
Freaking kidding me with this. Our first scene begins roughly around the same time a report's being fired off and the Artemis is chasing after the ghost of the Malar. Minister Shran is somewhere within the bowels of the Romulan warbird itself, in its control room. In the computer control room.
Look for a way to disable internal sensors. Oh, I don't know if I actually got it last time or not, but did I download all the data I wanted, or do I still need to do that?
You were able to download all the data. Call. Downloading is the easy bit. It's getting it off the ship that's hard. You're going to be attempting an opposed control plus. What are you messing with again? The internal security. So control security. Your difficulty is 1 higher because you're trying to override the security chief, the tactical officer's control of the internal sensors.
Infiltration.
I'll give that to you. Yeah.
Then 3 momentum for 4 dice.
1, 2, 3. I'll spend 3 back at you. 1, 2, 3. Where are you? There you are. Oh, not that much. Goodness gracious. They're not that good. One, 2, 3, 4 with complication. Effectively 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Although there was a tie, because they got a complication, it looks like that they were in the middle of doing a lower level diagnostic, like a level 3 diagnostic on internal sensors anyway, and you basically just reset them back to an earlier state. So they're taking even longer than they normally would, which your experience as a security officer, even on the colony, if something goes wrong, you kind of have to either hope that's not a big deal, or you start from scratch, or even make it a deeper level diagnostic to make sure nothing's wrong, because otherwise someone could be sneaking around on your ship without internal sensors on. That'd be a problem.
How long do I estimate I have?
We will say, actually, you know what, I know how to do this. Roll 7 challenge dice for me, please.
Am I trying to attack a clock?
You're creating the clock, you're creating intervals, so more hits is better and gives you more time.
Oh, do I want to spend a momentum to re-roll 3 challenge dice? Is that a thing?
1, 2, you can, because right now you're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 intervals. 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 intervals before they realize something, before they get it back on, or you have to reset the clock again.
I think that was worth a spend.
And describe to me an interval. Is an interval an action?
One interval's in essence, one interval's a minor action. Talking doesn't can kind of fall within one. Anything that's a task roll is 2. Moving around the ship is 1.
So we're talking like you have like 5 minutes, 15 minutes.
Actually, more thematically speaking, I'm actually thinking that he gave himself quite a bit of time, because he's giving himself enough time to move across the vastness of the ship. But it takes time to sneak past all the patrols and then very slowly make his way to wherever it is he wants to go. So it's more like each interval is maybe like 15 minutes to half hour or so. But in action economy sense, it's minor actions are 1, task rolls are 2. And extended task rolls, well, that introduces a whole new problem, because then their intervals match up with your intervals.
Yeah. Stealing a Diderdic seems like that's not in the cards.
It's almost like there's a ton of people aboard the ship trying to prevent, well, anyone from stealing the ship, really. It's almost like most people have attack teams and security squads for this sort of stuff. But there's a first for everything. Some people wished away reality-bending gates, so you know. But what is your intention, Minister Shran?
I'm planning. First thought is I could I could go to the work. I could raid the armory for some explosives and then go rig the warp core or whatever the singularity drive.
Okay.
But that does not get me a Diderdex. And I've been challenged to now get a Diderdex. So my first thought is to attempt to disable internal security fields.
There's
Like
also ye old fashioned atmospheric control.
that comes after dealing with the force fields. I want to disable the ship's force fields.
It's going to be the same roll, really, because it's a control security check to even put them up. So it's a post roll. Effectively, he has 1 hit for free because you're trying to override his console in such a way that he doesn't know anything's wrong. Is the other half of it. He doesn't know that you've done anything. It's just the computer's telling him everything's fine. And that will cost you 2 intervals to do, because it's a task roll. Actually, just for a bit of map making.
Determination on hit hard, hit fast.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Am I still able to use infiltration?
So far, yes. That text is way too big. Ba-ba.
I think with the determination, I think you actually got it.
Yeah.
'Cause he effectively has 2. You effectively have 3.
Ooh, 1 momentum.
So force fields are currently down. 6 intervals left.
Open all bays, doors, external ports, except for the one I'm in. Like, vent the whole ship essentially. I can do them if that's a really involved task. I can try to do it in series. Like first I'll like target the bridge section and like open external ports and all doors and stuff, and then I can make my way across the ship if that would take multiple rolls. Or I can do an extended task.
It's looking like an extended task. I'm trying to figure out how what the
Technically,
numbers are.
I have 6 intervals, so you could work that into it.
Yeah. Your time limit's kind of. We already know what it is at this point. It's been predetermined because it won't matter if you're like, haha, I'm still opening the doors. Oh, you know where I am. That's not good.
If I get far enough, it really won't matter anymore if they know where I am.
So we will say you're doing something to this effect. So essentially, it's this. But because of how difficult it'd be that. So it would be. Oops, that's wrong. That. And it would be. I'm gonna call it a. Study task of daring engineering, work 10, magnitude 3, resistance 2, base difficulty of 3.
Each roll takes up 2 intervals.
Yes. Unless you have, and I'll let, unless you spend 1 momentum to have one of the intervals, or you have a talent that speeds you
Okay.
up.
I thought it was 2. That's why I didn't already ask to do that. On the last task.
Oh, for the extended task, I'm giving you the chance to speed it up. But for that earlier thing, that was just gonna take 2 flat out.
Okay. Well, let's take a shot at no. All my talents deal with punching or shooting people. Oh, bold command. I have bold command, which is not relevant, but focuses don't matter because I have an engineering of 1.
Well, hope everyone got attached to Minister Strand. I'll miss him.
Well, technically, this is not
Only met
opposed,
once.
and the worst you can do to me is by work create complications. So 5 threat, 5 dice worth of 6 threat.
6 threat. Yeah, that's the worst I could do.
So do my orders come through, or?
Well, he probably saw them.
Oh, did he send me orders?
No, that's just a reminder from player to player, really.
Oh, okay. That's gonna stick because it's 3, and I only have 1 momentum right
now. We're gonna do this with the complication.
Make the intervals go down. Oh, don't make it go down by 3.
You're actually suffering from 3 stress as you're just getting the pressure of pulling this stunt off is really not good for your mental health right now, and you're kind of trying to keep your head together and focus on what you're doing.
Hey, if I succeed, there's a counselor to help with that.
Get in
Now,
line,
the
buddy.
bad part about this is I'm working with 3 challenge dice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know if I didn't think about this before starting that. I don't know that this is possible with 3 challenge dice. Oh shit. That's still only 4.
Minus the resistance, so 2. 2 of 10 work.
It is possible because I did it. I put my holodeck together several sessions back. It is possible.
Yeah. But I'm not actually sure it is though. Well, not unless I just roll a bunch of 2s, because the resistance is high enough that I need several rolls to get finished with 10, and there's almost no chance that I'll get 5 in a single roll. If I use 2 momentum, I still only get 4 and not a breakthrough.
I will let you know that you can try to fool the internal sensors again. It's just that you have to throw away 2 intervals and try to beat the security guy and extend the sensor blackout, and then you have a random roll of how much longer it will be before they find you.
Oh, okay.
Because the ship is not on alert yet. They don't know anything's wrong. Their main concern is the Artemis hunting them. They're not
Then-
worried about some dude on their ship. But if that timer runs out, they're going to know someone who isn't Romulans aboard.
Then I'll make this only take 1 interval.
Okay, just
I guess if I can keep the intervals down in halved every time, there's a much greater chance.
So instead of going down to 4 intervals, you're down to 5 intervals.
I'm gonna be a broken record here and throw you a bunch of threat, because it's not me who's gonna get shot by the Daredex.
I see how it is. Thanks for that. Yeah, thanks.
Ah, shit. Let's look at my normal milestones, see what I got cooking. I got 2.
I don't know if either of them were about hacking into a starship or countering such hacking.
The only one I'd have is hit hard, hit fast, since they still don't know I'm here, and I'm trying to do maximum damage before they realize I'm here.
Well, it's not the value I'm worried about. It's the milestone usually comes from an episode, and it's your character learning from that episode and applying it to today. But I don't think there's any episode where he's done anything like this.
My last one would have come from taking down the Romulans in my way into the computer room.
I'll give you one of them. Because it was involved, as you say, it was involved with dealing with the warbird. So you've learned from last episode. And I'm okay with the whoops. Don't call somebody phone. That would be bad. Okay.
What did we do 2 episodes ago?
That was probably you on the planet.
Oh, I might be able to use that one for sneaking around a bit or something.
Yeah.
Because I would have used that one, got that one from on the planet. I didn't do any hacking, but I did stealth and shooting moms. Oh my god, it's awful rolls.
I mean, you know what I'm going to do with that. Not a whole... Well, you know what? I have so much threat. I'll reroll some of that damage. Two stress. But out of that, difficulty was at 3, so you did get 1 momentum out of it.
That's the base to keep this train rolling.
You're looking at no work. But that roll.
Yeah, I still have to spin down for the interval.
Like you're typing away furiously.
Oh my god.
Oh, I assume that was another threat dump.
Yeah, it has to be. I have a 1 for engineering, so there's almost no chance of doubles unless they're accompanied by 20s. That's just a straight up failure.
Whoops.
Wait, I haven't been discovered from that, have I?
There is an alert. That there is a fault in the system. All stations be on alert. You look at the computer system, and it doesn't look like they've discovered where the fault's coming from. They just know something is wrong. Something inside the ship's wrong. And it looks like they seem to be what amounts to their political police, if you will, are checking in on all their officers and checking all the stations.
Then I'll just keep on going. I mean, I can probably beat them in a fight, but beating them in this task is what needs all my attention. Oh, I guess now I'm gonna shift back to the security task because I don't know if I could get the momentum to have this next roll.
Okay. So opposed control security, they're one up on you automatically.
Oh Lord.
And without anything else, they are going to discover that someone has been they're discovered your station's the one that's causing it. And they're probably gonna get their sensors back. Because that would have taken your 2 intervals to try to counter them.
Okay.
On the plus side, you know they're coming.
Can I use my phaser to weld the door shut?
Sure, but we're going to cut away from this scene as Mr. Tran gets in range of the door and begins sealing it with his phaser. We jump back into the past briefly. So, so many days ago, Commander Ray, the Artemis is just about underway. Everything's supplied up. They've moved other relevant personnel. There's been a bit of like shuffling where you've had to move certain officers to kind of cover where all your senior staff are going to be, because that's the one problem with station ships. You kind of have to make sure everyone who should be where they are, give some chances to the younger officers to kind of show that they can run a station, that sort of thing. And you actually have one of your command staff kind of walks over to you as you're just about to get ready to get out of your chair and head off to the Artemis. Commander.
Yes, officer.
Yes, sir. We found something. I found something out that may be of interest to you. Can we? He looks around the operations. Can I talk to you in your office? It's kind of important.
Raise an eyebrow. Okay, you have 5 minutes, and we head to.
Yes, sir. As you walk in, the door closes, and he kind of makes sure it's closed first, and kind of looks back to you. Well, I double checked, did some digging, and made sure that there wasn't a fault in the file. See, we've been kind of keeping an eye on your mother, sir, just for her safety. You know, traders sometimes this far out, things happen. We wanted to make sure she was all right. And she's been on the station mainly on the colony, and then at one point, she took an excursion off colony, which isn't the weirdest thing in the world. People go skiing, explore, all that fun stuff. I
4
decided to
minutes
kind of
and 15 seconds.
yeah. So I looked into it a bit more, just be a little cautious, and apparently, Mrs. Sandino Ray is She's currently in the Minister of Security's holding area. Apparently on charges that are currently in the holding of the Minister of Security, since it seems to be a colony matter rather than a Starfleet one. But yeah.
Do you know under what charge?
It's I've kind of gotten a bit of the runaround from the minister's office, simply because I'm not a security officer, and this seems to be a colony matter, a civilian matter. But I thought you should know, and I wanted to know if you wanted me to push the issue on your behalf, like on your orders, or if you wanted to handle it yourself, or if we should just stay out of it. Because there is some pressure I could put. There's asking nicely, and then there's pushing the charter at people. In orientation, I remember being told that sometimes one must remember we're serving the citizen. We serve the citizens, not the other way around. So
Let's figure out what exactly he's been in charged under before, or we make this a whole Starfleet affair.
I could bring up the minister for you. You could ask him, because we don't have access to their computers unless it's a war act, which at present we're thankfully not at war. Not in this region, anyway.
If we're at war with Andorians, and where you have larger issues at hand.
No, that's not what I meant, sir. I mean, like, for emergency pulling of resources, for when the Archon was attacking, we had to pull all the food and, gather all the resources up for the big evacuation. Yeah, sorry, I misspoke, sir. Sorry. Kind of
Okay.
looks around nervously when you mentioned, like, war with Andoria. Like, whoa, what? No, I wasn't implying that. Like, he thinks he's in real trouble now.
I misheard.
Oh, good.
Go ahead and hail the minister and pipe it into my office.
Right away, sir. And he gets out of there as fast as he can.
Wait, this is how long ago is this?
This is
Probably like
17 days ago or so.
Yeah.
Oh.
2 weeks.
This is after the interrogation you had with your Klingon and Betazoid friend, and also had a nice chat with the Vulcan minister. Council member.
Okay. We're having flashback, and we have no momentum.
You can't blame me that it hasn't happened yet.
Minister Tran, you were being pinged by your staff. You're being told by your staff that the station commander is hailing the ministry and wants to speak with you.
Patch it through to my desk, and I'll lock it to my desk.
So, for effect, I'll put you like here. You're essentially talking to each other face to face. Minister Tran's face pops up on your computer, Commander.
Minister Shran.
Yes, Commander.
I'm gonna keep this a personal matter for now, but I have just been informed that you have a particular beta set in your holding cell at the moment.
I'm sorry, the Colonial Administration does not comment on ongoing investigations.
Even to family members?
I'm not entirely aware of what you speak of. And even if I was aware, I'm not allowed to speak on matters of colonial security and investigations.
we can either do this. It's the easy way where you tell me what the hell my mother did, or I can throw the entire Starfleet charter in your face.
That would be the formal procedure. The other half of the formal procedure is I'm going to have to investigate if your claims are correct and you do actually have inside information on someone who's in a jail who hasn't been processed yet. I'm going to have to start investigating people between this office and you to figure out how you know information that's not public. So we can let the process play out legally without any interruptions, or you can force this to be a public matter. Right now, it's a private matter. Somehow, you've been told inaccurate or incomplete information, and by even acknowledging that, I'm being generous. It would be best if we left it there and let the process play out legally.
Again, this is involving a family member. I have a right to know about her well-being and the processes, is the legal processes she's being involved.
I will have a staff member send you the relevant information on the laws of Andon's Landing. And if a person that you would consider family is being processed, I'll also provide you with the date that'll appear before the council.
So we're just going to continue playing this game. Sure.
Hold on 1 second. I'll reach into my desk and shuffle around and pull out a tablet and or a pad, and I'll kind of scroll through it, and then I'll put it up against the screen and like point out a paragraph. This is paragraph 4, subsection C of the Criminal Code of Andon's Landing, and it states pretty clearly that my hands are tied.
I think I'll ask this: Do your characters wish to engage in social conflict at this point, or are you both or either of you going to withdraw? Because I get the feeling these two characters feel very strongly about their sides, and this is a part where conflict has arisen.
Shran wants to withdraw because Shran's not trying to be an ass. He's worried that the Vulcan minister is trying to be subversive. So getting Ray off the phone and investigating the Vulcan is primary focus.
And I'm worried about the safety of my mother and whatever shenanigans she got herself tied up in.
I'll present two options for you, Ray. You can either unless you manage to fill up his whole stress track in one role, like one social role, he won't really feel very compelled to automatically give information. If you got like maybe 5 damage, if you would, he might let something slip, but nothing like big. And if we both know, and that's why I'm asking both players to kind of save you time, both of you time. You know he's going to withdraw. Like you can see Tran getting ready to cut the communication, so you know you're not going to get an extended chat with the guy for whatever reason. Now that said, you can either try to get a parting shot in, which might complicate what he's trying to do, because if he gets injured, as it were, he's at penalties because he had to deal with you, which may be a thing you want, to be fair. Or you could, as he's leaving, roll insight, command or security difficulty 2 to possibly get some insight on why Shran's doing this. Because Shran hasn't said straight up what his intentions are, but you might be able to glean from the conversation some information.
And the information that he wants to investigate the Vulcan and
Like it's not
counselor,
like he's not trying to.
That's meta information, right? Shran.
Yeah, that's
Ray
meta.
doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you get the role, your character might get the sense off of Shran of like, oh, he's not out for my mother. Something else is going on. He's trying to protect me. But your character doesn't have a reason to believe that yet. Is the thing. So.
Okay. I'm just gonna ask one last question. Within the laws of Andon's landing, her health and well-being will be preserved until the counselor meeting. Correct?
If you ask Rand, then he's gonna say that Andon's landing prescribes to all of Federation statutes on prisoner safety and judicial processes, including expedient, processing of their charges.
And now, off of that, I would like to do the Insight Command roll.
Sure. Insight Command difficulty 2.
Focus in interstellar law, cultural studies.
I'd give you cultural studies, actually. And by the way, Shran, correct me if I'm wrong. I assume you're not trying to obfuscate anything in particular. You're not trying to hide that you're not trying to mislead Ray in any way. But you're not.
No, I mean, I definitely won't come out and admit that his mom is here, but I've already kind of alluded in not so many words, so
Yeah.
he may be able to pick up that from what I'm saying, but outright saying anything about the case is the only thing that's off limits.
That makes it not opposed, thankfully, for
Okay.
Ray. It's just a diff 2.
Would I be able to use diffusing the tension, since I'm trying not to resort to violence, as in political violence, of dragging this out to court?
I would recommend that not be something that is active.
Okay.
Because otherwise I might say you might have challenged a directive between the powers of Starfleet and abusing it for your personal use. So at this moment you haven't, but if a diffuse attention comes into to prevent yourself from committing political violence, that might not be good for the character.
That would be abusing my station. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just roll to. And that happens.
Why do I give out rolls anymore? People just make them.
Because if
Then
not,
again,
that didn't work earlier in the game.
in a different game, I give people difficulty 1 and 0 checks, and they whiff them and give me threats. So, what can I do? Anyway,
Okay,
but
so
no,
I get 2 social questions.
You do, yep, and you get cold read as well. You have cold read, or do you?
I do have cold read, so that's
so
where I
you-
get the 2 from.
Yeah, well, you have 1 from that, and you have 2 momentum, so you could spend those for obtaining information. But flat information for just succeeding, you get the feeling Shran is not actively out to get you or out to get her. Like, there's no malice. He's being official. He's being professional.
He's being official. He's being professional, and he's following the rules to keep everyone safe and
actually, under cultural studies, it fits in with the Andorian spirit of upholding the law. It's like, well, no, I'm not. We're on the same team, but at the same time, rules are rules. So I got to do what I got to do. I get it. You want to protect your clan, but I'm the Minister of Security. What do you want me to do?
with that at success, as can we say, that I get the idea that he has larger targets in mind, that he's worried about something bigger than just a petty crime my mother got caught up in.
With your cold read, I could give that to you, yeah. And Shran, I assume that's that's not inaccurate. You are aiming for a bigger
Yes.
fish, as I recall.
Okay. That satisfies enough of my curiosity that I'll let you do your thing. And all right, whatever you need to do, Ushran, keep me apprised.
Will do.
Station out.
Commander Ray, is there anything you wish to do before you head to the Artemis? You do know that Ministran's going to be coming along. Is there anything you want to do on the station before you get the Artemis underway? Maybe take your chances with Dr. Ryan. Share your feelings. That sounded weird.
That just sounded weird.
You share them with Lieutenant Jackson. I'm not telling you who to talk to.
Maybe not like stall the departure of the Artemis, yes, but I have seen later on with someone and talking about that.
Who would that someone be?
No, let's have it be Ryan.
Okay. Jackson and Bane. You two get as you're aboard the ship on the Artemis, and you're getting things underway. You're seeing everyone's getting the and gearing up to be away from station for a while, because usually the Artemis doesn't drift away too long in its day-to-day operations. Doesn't get too far from the station, so it usually doesn't stock up because it doesn't need to. And you move the less mass when you're moving around, the better. But right now, everyone's taking a bit, moving around stuff. You're like maybe 15 minutes, half hour to be ready to go, like fairly soon. And then you get something comes up the chain that the Artemis is being delayed in departure for by order of the commander. No particular reason. It's just delayed departure.
Is there a amount of time it's being delayed?
Good question, Ray. Do you put it as an indefinite, or do you put a pin in the number?
Like within 2 hours, or give me 3 days.
Given that situation, and let's say it's delayed an hour.
Oh, an hour? I don't say anything. I'll take the hour to get a nice cup of coffee.
Okay.
Be fine with that.
I would do the same.
Yeah. I was like, if it's like 3 days, I might be concerned, but an hour is he ripped his uniform and needs to go change. I don't know.
Quick check-in with Jackson and Bane. You kind of take a moment to head down to the mess on board ship and get yourselves a coffee, because all your work is done. All the rest of the work is basically the junior staff, and if you're delayed, there's nothing for you to do.
Yeah, I imagine I just finished getting rid of that crit that we got a while back.
Yeah.
That breach, I mean.
Yeah,
Because
but
we got rid of that right before we left the station, so I imagine that's what I've been doing for the last few days.
I guess I've just been organizing my console in the way I like it.
Get
Oh,
it set
yes.
just a certain way.
Updating us to LCARS 45, which is what we had when we left. We went 2 versions. Yep. We're just probably chatting about, trail stuff.
Yep.
Yep. Probably like, how does it feel, a symbiote? I always thought that was kind of weird.
How does it feel not to have one?
Well, you would know, wouldn't you? You only had yours like 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like that. I always thought it was kind of weird. I never really, I didn't grow up on trail, so I never really was around that kind of stuff.
I always thought it was weird for people not to want one.
Interesting. Yeah. Not my thing.
comes with some interesting things.
Can imagine, don't you have like 3 people in your head or something like that?
Eh, you can describe it as that,
Yeah.
kind of.
Sometimes I don't think I have enough room for me. It's probably not a good idea.
It's not like they talk. It's more like you can get their memories, and it's weird. Hard to
I can
describe.
imagine. Well, I'm glad you're happy with your decision.
Yes.
I wonder why the commander delayed. Do you have any idea?
Probably heading to the bathroom. Maybe he wanted some food, some non-replicated food
Maybe.
before he left.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Yes.
I haven't really had a chance to meet him yet. I've been working on this whole breach they had.
Yeah, I just came on recently,
Yep.
so I haven't met him either.
Well, hopefully he's not one of those commanders.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Guess we'll find out soon.
Yep.
Yeah, one of those commanders.
I think we both have different.
We do.
Yeah.
We absolutely have different opinions on what those commanders are. Yep. Well, I guess I better go see if this update's finished.
Yes. I guess I'll just wait here until I get called up to the bridge.
Okay. As I walk out the door, I curse because I just got a notification alerting us to the next update.
Why is it in so many stages? Why?
Bug fixes.
What do you mean hot fix? What?
Why is it 32 petabytes? What the heck?
And Jackson, I'm going to ask you for, as you're finishing your coffee and relaxing a bit, I'm going to ask you for Insight Command Difficulty 1 to get a feel of your fellow crew. Yeah,
Okay.
who are.
Oh,
Hey, you got a momentum out of it.
sweet.
You get the feeling that at this point the crew is in pretty good spirits. They seem to be, since it seems like a milk run. It seems like an easy mission. Go to a place, grab a thing, come back. Nothing big's gonna happen. And they look at the new office, the officer change up. The fact that you and Bane are coming in and the other officers being shifted out. That's not weird, especially in this with the aftermath of the Battle of the Ark. There's a lot of transfers and moving people around, so they're not too thrown. And with a station, that happens anyway.
Is there anyone else in the mess hall?
Oh yeah, there's a few other people in there. There's various officers from other shifts. Some people just taking their break, especially with the delay. People are like, oh well, if I'm gonna get my coffee, I better, you know.
The entire ship complement is here getting their coffee before the captain comes on board.
Before he drinks it all.
Yep.
Jackson will just lean back and take a deep breath and get himself another coffee.
Cut back to
3-hour tour.
We'll cut to Commander Ray standing before the door of Dr. Ryan, who, at the moment, Dr. Ryan, you're in the midst of gathering up your things to get ready to go, because as far as you heard, well, except for a little ping on your pad that, there's a delay that the ship's about to go underway. So you were kind of getting ready to go. And then you hear the door chime.
Enter.
Commander Ray?
Find out if my mic is down, and I enter.
Commander, I was getting ready to board the Artemis. Our next meeting is not scheduled for another day or so.
And I just found out that my mother is being detained and by colonial affairs for some reason. And Shran is being like as forthright as ever.
And you're upset that your mother is incarcerated? Or are you upset at the fact that Minister Shran is the one that is holding your mother in custody?
Partially is Shran, and partially because he's being obtuse about his true motivations. And I'm not entirely sure if it isn't personal.
Or perhaps Minister Shran is just doing his job.
And that job prevents him from telling a family member or why they're being detained.
If you're, I'm not really purviewed in the ways of security matters, but from experience, does a Starfleet officer or even a constable won't give away detailed information on a potential investigation? I'm assuming she's being investigated by your tone here. Would you not want that information to get out if you were investigating someone and their family member demanded to know why? Would you tell them why, knowing that if that information got out could be detrimental to not only the family members but other individuals as well?
I suppose. Needs of the many and all.
To an extent. Could be that you're also protecting the rights of the one who's being investigated as well. There are many avenues as to why you would hold back information. There are things we keep secret in our own personal life because we feel people tend to feel that it would be harmful to those around them or to themselves.
So until then, and I am stuck following the law as always. It's meant
Well,
and to
we
it's meant
have
and to protect us, but now I feel constrained.
we there are rules that we all must follow for as part members of our society. Are you upset the fact that your mother is incarcerated or that she is in some sort of trouble and she didn't come to you?
It's not so much that she's in trouble. It's the fact that she's in trouble and chose to keep me out of it, and now I'm being kept out of it.
Sometimes, as a parent, such as a mother or father would be, they wish to protect their children at all cost, no matter the consequences to themselves. Your mother is more than likely trying to protect you by leaving you out of it, whatever the case may be. Would you like some
Well,
tea to help calm you down before we start on our trip?
I suppose you got the ping for the delay, and now you know about it. Might as well I'll make full use of the hour.
She walks over to the replicator, orders some tea.
And with that, we'll move on to present day. If I can find it. In theory, I really need to organize my maps better. Whoop. So, present day, we're in the briefing room of the USS Artemis. It has been nearly 17 days since that 1 hour delay. And sitting in front of you as your coffees and your teas, as you're kind of gathering together to kind of get your thoughts together, figure out what to do, and the recent update on the status of where the Artemis is in relation to the Andoril, the Malar, and indeed Starbase 21. And over these last 10 days, you have, since encountering the Warbird, none of you have heard anything from Minister Shran.
Well, he's dead.
However much I might not want that to be, I have to agree with that.
If
I
he
have a
isn't-
feeling that if they found an Andorian operative on the Warbird, they would have lorded it over us and used it as a pawn in their game.
That could be
I
true.
believe Shran is still active, just incommunicado at the moment.
I certainly hope that's true.
Yes.
I didn't know the man, but I wouldn't want him to be injured.
However stupid I may think his actions are, they, that doesn't go anywhere.
All right. What can we tell about the
Bane, you just got a message in Discord.
I'm unfamiliar with the angle system itself, sir, but I am familiar with the how do I say that? Androl?
And Duriel.
Anduriel. It's a Nebula class vessel. It appears they're in orbit of Angle Prime.
am I familiar with the commander of the vessel?
Give me Insight Command difficulty 2.
And I can't think of any focuses. Tactics, knowing the fleet commanders on my side, in order to use their tactics effectively.
I'll give that reasoning over, yeah. It's a little quieter there. There we go. Oh, hey. Oh, and there was a scene change, so the momentum would have gone down by 1. You just got some of it back, so.
Commander Talir's airship. They were at the Battle of the Ark, if I recall.
Good, then he has some combat experience. We may need that.
Yes. Can I do a insight security check or insight command check of how a New Orleans and a Nebula would fare up against a Dedaradex? Does that? I'm assuming that evens the odds a bit, but I'm not sure if it's quite fully even.
Without rolling, you know that the Nebula classes are 5 and your scale 4. Overall, you have 2 bigger ships facing another big ship, so you have numerical advantage.
Would,
And Nebula
numerical-
classes are fairly sturdy.
would I know what current attachment the Nebula has? Because can't they switch out between like science, tactical?
Yeah, they have a module, and that's
Yeah.
a roll. That will
Yeah.
be since you can look it up on a computer, I'll give you reason con difficulty of 1.
Okay, I'm more than happy to take that roll. I don't think I have a focus for this, unless like computer systems would work.
I would have to say no.
Okay. What about Starship defensive systems? Because I'm checking and see what that ship is equipped with.
I'll give you that, yeah.
Okay. Yes. And you said difficulty 1?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've shot you the message in Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Just to clarify as well, their garrison ship of Starbase 254. Starbase 254, for reference, is the one that's stationed right next to the Tellurian Republic. They're kind of, they're about, in effect, they're one sector, galactic west. Actually, I can just show you the map. Why am I making this hard on myself? I don't have to. I can do this.
I say a tactical map would be my next question.
So you guys are here, more or less. Algol is right there. That's Starbase 21. And the Starbase 254 is right there.
Okay.
Like once you made the call, because you made the call while you were down here, so they just started going, oh well, we'll just start looking around for him and see if we see something. And they heard reports from Al Ghul and like, oh well, we'll just warp over there and meet you there. Because you were kind of, as you were chasing them, in what amounted to more or less this trajectory. So it wasn't a big deal for you to chase them and still go to Starbase 21. But now if they're going Algol, it means they're not going, either they're going less like this to Ramen space and more like this.
Are you drawing something?
Oh, you can't see the arrow. Can you guys actually
So
see that?
the-
I don't know.
Yeah,
I can.
yeah, they're
Okay, good.
pitching.
So
They're
that versus
pitching
this.
more north.
Yeah.
They're pitching more collect.
Commander, if this report's accurate, I believe the Nebula class is equipped with a control and command module, not the tactical variant.
Still, can make use of that. The command module will definitely help
Yes.
coordinate between our two ships.
Yeah, they will have upgraded communications, computers, and command abilities, including some limited electronic warfare.
Do we know what their current mission in the angle system is, or was it specifically just to intercept them?
This was in response to you. They heard the report from Algol's sensor net, and they're like, "Oh, well, we'll go there and we'll meet you there." Unless you're diverting, at which point they'll just search for this warbird on their own. Because that's somewhat. This is their job. They're supposed to maintain safety. This isn't their sector in particular, but it neighbors theirs. So this is kind of an issue that an unauthorized warbirds really close to their sector of space.
Yeah. During the last 10 days, were we actively following a warp trail or something, or were we just kind of following along their last known trajectory?
You were following the trace amounts of their warp trail and that they've been leaving behind in subspace, because you've been able to kind of follow along after them, and there isn't any significant nebulas that they could hide in. And actually, the nearest one they could hide in. Bring us back to the space map. Whoops. No.
So, based on that, they didn't do any fake out or Duke when they did cloak.
They did, because their initial flight pattern had them heading towards Starbase 21. Like, they were initially heading. It looked like they were heading straight at it. Which
But
one
now-
would think that they were going to go slightly off to avoid going right into their sensor net, because modern starbases can see cloaked ships these days. But they instead veered off and started heading more north. So they've very much tried to lose you.
Okay.
The nearest nebula from you is this way.
Because that was one thing I was wondering, is if they took the time to do a fake out, or if they were just rushing to get to their destination.
It's a slight fake. It's more of a I would hesitate to call it a fake out, and it's more of a slight change in course. But if you weren't like right on top of them, you would have lost them. Like, you would have, if you tried to follow on their line of trajectory, you would have kept going and chasing nothing, because they diverted just enough, but without slowing down. That's the trick. Because you want to do a juke or you want to fake out, you have to stop dead, and then turn and then warp in a new direction, as opposed to just very slightly adjusting your course over the course of the few days and then veering away. And when you're moving at warp speed, you have to be very careful when you do that.
One more question. How long ago was it when we got the report of the sighting in the Algol system? Algol system.
About 5 days ago.
Oof. Okay.
But the Algol system has a base, like it's an inhabited world. It's a Federation world, so it has not so much a starbase per se, but it does have like sensor nets and defense nets and stuff like that. So
They haven't
makes
detected
sense
them
that
leaving
some.
either? So they detected them coming into the system but not departing?
They detected something weird, and then the Anduriel looked into it and then ferreted out that that's a Romulan ship. That's what the Artemis is looking for. So we'll go to Algol, get more information. And they're either, as far as they know, they're either approaching Algol, or they're going to be passing it. But with more information, they might be able to narrow that down.
Can I get a readout on the Oracle system? Who's there, or what sort of tactical systems they have, political or economic interests?
Sure, give me a moment. I wrote that down earlier today because I knew that was going to be relevant.
Because I want to know why they're diverting in their. I mean, their new course would take them to the Romulan Star Empire. Just
Where the sun? There it is.
Are there any sort of stealth phenomena in that system?
You're asking if there's any stellar phenomena in the system.
Yeah.
The only
Anything unique?
two things of uniqueness, one might argue. There is it's a white sequence star, so it's not your standard yellow sun. But you wouldn't be able to hide because of that. It's just an interesting tidbit that you would know. It does have an asteroid field, but it's like the one in the Sol system. And frankly, if they were like scale 3 or smaller, like a runabout or like a Defiant, they could like do the Millennium Falcon thing and hide in there. But they're the Derridex. This thing's huge. They'd stick out unless they somehow found particular metals in the rocks. But there's nothing particularly odd. But I will give you a roll to make sure of that with Reason Science difficulty of 2.
I would definitely do that. Would testing a theory apply? Because I've already scanned the system.
Technically, yes. So difficulty. So you get a reroll. I think it is.
And I get an extra dice.
It's extra die.
One additional d20.
Difficulty stays the same.
Oh, great.
Do you want to quash that or leave it?
I'll quash that.
Okay.
Using momentum.
Point of fact, you actually do discover that the asteroids in and of themselves wouldn't be enough, but Algol 4 is a Jovian class world, like think Jupiter or Saturn. If they interacted if they did very careful work, they could try to use the field from the Jovian planet with some of the metals from this field and kind of hide. Not great, but enough that it's hard to track down a cloaked ship.
Okay.
Is that the only Class J planet somewhere along their trajectory?
Let me zoom in a
Jackson,
bit.
can you check that?
I can check that.
I'll give that to you as your free science question, more or less.
I'll take that.
In theory, because of the way they diverted, they could have tried to pull something off in the Tau Ursae Majoris system, but it's a little too close to Starbase 21, and it's fairly well watched because it's near their operating area. Whereas Al Ghul is basically just far away enough from all the star bases in the area that it kind of has to fend for itself and yell for help if they're in trouble. But theoretically, there should be a bunch of listening posts, so that normally isn't a problem for it. So Al Ghul is the most practical place to pull this stun off. They could wait till later, but they might have clued in that you're following them, or they might be being Romulans. They might just be paranoid and they're just trying to ditch you in the possible scenario that you found them, or that you're following them.
I'm kind of want to go with Commander Instinct, and they're assuming we're following them, and they're trying to ditch us.
Real quick, do we know what types of infrastructure the Algol system has? What type of stations, orbital stations, or just like unmanned relay stations? Because I have an idea, but I don't know if it'll work. If every planet and that thing has like an unmanned station, that might be useful to know.
Repeat the question again. I think I misunderstood you.
Like, what types of stations and outposts is in that system? Like, how infrastructured is it?
The infrastructure is mainly it's very much a they don't have a starbase or an outpost per se. They do have a port of sorts where someone could dock and get some quick repairs and stuff, but nothing major. Nothing like even Ended's Landing. Like Ended's Landing's more advanced than that.
Right.
Most of their outposts are of scientific or cartographic in nature, so less looking in the system and more sensor. They had a word for it in TNG, but essentially it's like subspace telescopes that look very far away, so they can look into like neighboring
Okay.
sectors and examine things at a long distance.
Would
Because-
those? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, would those stations be capable of emitting tachyon pulses?
You'd have to it'd have to be coordinated from the Department of Cartography branch office on the planet. But in
Okay.
theory, it's possible. It's just not what they're designed for.
Okay, because if we could just send a big tachyon ping across the system, we could definitely detect the cloak ship. Cross. Yeah, tachyon sweep. That's if they are. That would be a way to detect if they still are in the system, Commander. That's my opinion.
I suggest focus. If we do that, I suggest focusing on angle 4. It's at least what I would think that they would hide.
Yeah, I don't see any tactical or economic reason for going to the system, so they must be using it to try to shake us.
Agreed.
Agreed.
I would assume they've detected the presence of the. Cannot say this word. Andrill.
And Durrell.
Andriel. However, Captain. It's hard to miss a Nebula class. So they may be aware if they are in the system that we're onto them.
I suggest pulling the ship away, but keeping it close. Make it look like they're going opposite direction, but not really. Take them on once their own game.
Oh, that's a hole we could easily fall down.
And I do a roll to see if that kind of chess move is viable.
No roll. You don't need to. Oh, well, actually, I know why you're asking. Give me. Let's call this. Actually, I'll put it to you this way: it is viable. It would amount to a control command roll. Difficulty. It would be difficulty of 3. 2 is the base, but it's +1 because the person you'd be giving that advice to outranks you, and so you'd have to frame it as I suggest you do this. You can't really order him to do anything because he outranks you. Even though you called for his help, he could try to override you. But you could theoretically get him to do it. It is a totally viable.
Okay. After this meeting, I'll get the Captain Terrell on the horn and advise him to start tracking away from the angle system.
I would also recommend getting the ball rolling with the Department of Cartography.
Yes, bureaucracy can be
Yeah.
pretty bad sometimes.
If I can suggest just subtly that they may be concerned of a Doderidex in their system, and it would be nice to know where it is. That might get the ball rolling a little faster.
If we can communicate with them cryptically, we don't want to
Of course.
tip off the Malar that we're setting up a tachyon grid.
Of course. I'm sure we can establish an encrypted comm.
Yeah, you could try
If
doing
not,
that.
we could relay it through the Nebula class.
Or we could send a message in a probe, and have it get into orbit of the planet and have it transmit to the planet. No chance of him intercepting it.
Actually, I wanted to do this in the first place, but over the past 10 days, could we have been firing probes off at 90-degree angles to our course, ours to try to sniff out the Romans. Even though we're following the warp trail, just kind of throw them out to like, oh, we don't know where we are. We're sending probes out.
Like you're trying less you trying to find them, but you trying to bluff them into thinking you don't know where they are.
Yeah, trying to bluff them.
You could try an opposed presence command roll against what amounts to the commanding officer of the Daredex to see if they clue in on what you're up to.
Focus and tactics.
Yes.
And if this works, would a plan of action kick in, and of we're using the plan and of firing off probes like we have been for the past 10 days to covertly send a message to Angol Prime?
Pardon me, Commander. I might be overstepping my bounds here, but this just feels off to me. Something doesn't add up. Why would they suddenly change course and divert to this system? And weren't we supposed to rendezvous at Starbase 21? I don't know the full details of your mission here, but is there something important we're supposed to be retrieving at Starbase 21?
I do tend to agree with Dr. Ryan. This could be a further distraction from our current task.
He does have a point.
Or we could be walking into potentially a trap here. It's
That too.
Or possibly it's a double play by Romulans, making us enter the trap.
Why couldn't it be Klingons?
Klingon stab you in the front, Romulan stab you in the back.
Klingons are so much more direct.
You do have a point. If we divert to Starbase 21, what's our timetable going to look like? Or continue to Starbase 21?
At high warp, you remember getting estimates from, say it'd be a day, so 24 hours or a full cycle, if you will.
Yeah, and these two plans aren't mutually exclusive. We could redirect to Starbase 21 and have the station send out the tachyon sweep, and the Nebula class continue searching the system.
Then maybe we get
Cover both angles.
Maybe we get following with those stations being modified for tachyons while on our way to Starbase 21.
You can cover both angles.
I think you're correct, Doctor Ryan, and they've so far been delaying us as continuing to Starbase 21 this entire time. Let's call their bluff. Let's inform the Angol system and the Arderel that we're going to divert to Starbase 21 and retrieve our package, and then we'll meet up with them in 48 hours.
Maybe we should keep the thing about retrieving a package out of the message.
And, Commander, it may not be a good idea to redirect to the Angol system with the package. Is that not what the Romulans want anyway? The package? Is that not their ultimate goal? As far as we understand?
If that's their goal, perhaps we should see what they want from it, and also we do have an operative on board that ship.
An operative we haven't heard from in 10 days.
We also have the Romulan commander on board the vessel, though she has not been forthright,
No, she has not.
despite her claimed status.
That's another or issue. Do we want the commander and the package on the ship together?
Maybe we go
Or
to Starbase 21, pretend to pick up the package, and then redirect to the angle system.
I like that. If they think we have the package, they might jump.
Yes.
So we'll be setting ourselves as bait.
Yes, we can keep our reinforcements in reserve. Have them come out at warp when they attack us. Or if they attack us.
Okay. Jensen and start drawing up, or Jensen and Bane start drawing up plans to modify the stations and for or attack on grid. Ryan, with your linguistic skills, would you be willing to help encrypt that message onto a probe?
I mean, there's difference between code and linguistic skills.
What is what is the role for
Yeah, well,
that?
I believe it's engineering.
Oh.
Which is your low stat, so
Yeah.
I
I'm
could
just
try
seeing if
doing
we
it
have
again.
any. I'm just seeing if we have any NPCs that have that as a focus, because I don't have anything with the communications as a focus. Reika has a focus for that.
okay.
I'd suggest Reika do it.
In that case, is Ryan. If you think if we can get no more information out of the commander, perhaps Shin, and help me coordinate this plan across Starbase 21 and the Ongol system.
As you wish.
Captain, I have one more suggestion. It's obvious Romulans were able to figure out which we gain a package somehow. Maybe we have engineering reinforce where the package is supposed to be. Fake it so it seems like we're putting in sensor dampeners. Maybe it'll look more believable if we have it.
That's not a bad suggestion. And can we have an engineering team in working on that?
I can definitely install some extra shielding in the cargo bay.
Also,
Yeah.
with the specs of the package, just find some way of faking sensor scan.
I think I can do that. Maybe he's kind of trails off thinking as I look up what I think this is called.
Either way, I think that me and Bane would be able to do that somehow. Working together.
All right. Just to confirm, the intention of what is the Artemis's course is to 21.
Yes, I'll.
Since that's your course, that means that before you get to Starbase 21, you effectively have 24 intervals. Basically, each interval is about an hour's worth of work, and each task is covering the course of like 2 hours of concerted work. So I'll reflect that in difficulty because you're spending extra time to work on it. So some things that would be a lot harder if you were doing it in the moment are a lot easier because you were taking the time to do it properly. Unless, of course, if it's an extended task that you're trying to do, you could, in that case, spend momentum to try to speed it up a little. But if it's just a one-off task, it'll just cost you 2 intervals flat, unless you have a talent that speeds you up. That said,
And okay.
That said, who wants to go first? Now, here's the thing. This is a bit of a quirk of STA rules. Plan of action will come into effect for the purpose of if you like set up an advantage, like you're trying to do with if the attack on grid plane goes off, or you're able to get the Enduriel to set up with your tactic, then plan of action will fire when you help or they help, that sort of thing. So you kind of do the roll first. Once the advantage is locked in because of your tactic, then that will have that buff, if you will, that aura, to put in that term, of your talent. Yes. But yes. So you're all sharing the same intervals because you're kind of focusing, because a lot of the ship's resources are being directed to achieve certain things. So you only have so much time before, in effect, you're out of time.
Right. I suggest
Because eventually you'll get to the starbase and you'll be like, well, we have to deal with that before we can do anything else. And by that point, something will have happened in the Algol system.
Right. I think the first thing we should do is get that secured channel up and running, because then we can start coordinating.
I agree.
Okay, so you're intending to send up a encrypted channel to whom? Just to make sure I'm right.
Do we want to?
Let's coordinate with the USS Artemis.
Agree. They can relay our wishes to the Department of Cartography.
Yep,
They can beam somebody down.
And it wouldn't look suspicious as that we're having an encrypted channel between two federations.
Agreed.
Actually, the difficulty, it depends on how much you want to encrypt it. You can set the encryption difficulty to 1 all the way up to 5. Although I will say that if it's up to difficulty 3, most people can't break that. Your average officer can't pull that off. But if you really want to make sure they definitely can't hear you, 4 and 5 will be like, no, you need like a dedicated linguist to crack the code.
If I assist Reika, would that like get rid of one of my intervals that I can do, or how does that work?
You can always assist. It's just that that's what you're, because you're sharing intervals, people can assist each other. Because there's an assumption that you're pulling people. By the way, that's the other thing. If you want to activate an engineering team or something to help with stuff, it's one opportunity, or that is one momentum, and they can act as a floating advantage. Mind you, Bane, you're the chief of engineering, aren't you?
Yes.
You kind of have that floating with you. You're always assumed to have your own personal engineering team waiting for you to go as long as you're on the ship or the station.
So what does that do?
It's an advantage. So you can either bring down the difficulty of a task or bring down the complication of a task.
And I can do that once a session?
As long as you're on a starship, as long as it's an engineering role.
Oh, anytime.
Yeah. As long as you're on the ship or the colony. If you're not on the colony, ship or the station. If you're on the colony, you don't get them. If you're on a away mission, you don't get them. You have to spend to bring them along.
I should have did that with the warp core breach.
Yes, you should have.
I didn't know that was a thing. I'm gonna roleplay it as I didn't have time to talk to those people.
Yeah, I mean it's fair. You made it anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Then yeah, I'll assist Reika because she has the focus.
Okay. So
and
how?
I guess I'll use the team too, because why not?
That said, how?
Can I use the team if I'm assisting, or do I have to be doing it?
I'll let you do it because you're assisting. You couldn't just send the team off on their own. They're helping you assist somebody else.
Gotcha.
Now, crew support. You're using a crew support of the ship, so that'll matter if you need more supporting characters to help you. Because this is one of those times that might come up. You might actually run into your scale. So that all said, how encrypted is Reika going to try to make it?
Let me check her stat.
What specifically is the role?
It would be
control engineering, probably.
I want to say that. I'm going to make sure I'm right. I'm pretty sure that's right though. Because I don't know. I wouldn't think it'd be daring engineering.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And it wouldn't be another thing. It's actually medicine. What? No.
What? Oh God.
I believe it's
com-
science.
Computer, activate the EMH.
Oh, I actually have what the ship does assist with communication security, but it is a control engineering task.
Okay, Reika's rolling a 17, so she has a very high chance of getting it.
Does she have a focus?
She does indeed. She has subspace communications. And
Yep,
Ivy
that would apply.
assisting, and we have that advantage thing.
You know what? Let's skip bold and let's roll a 4, especially since these are Romulans we're dealing with. They're kind of into spy.
And
Ben
I-
wanted to spend a momentum to get an extra dice. You want to get 4?
comp rate is going to go up on this roll.
Okay. Tattoo. Oh, 3. Oof.
So either we make it or we don't.
Okay. So does somebody else want to roll for Reika?
I'm gonna mark her sheet though real quick.
Okay.
'Cause she probably gets an upgrade too.
Do you want to be Reika for this? Does somebody want to be Reika for this?
Maybe the minister who's not who's
Yeah.
I was actually about to stand up get something to drink, so
okay.
if you still need me in like 2 minutes, I'll be back.
Okay.
Probably spend the determination on precise to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I
I'd
like
allow.
2 threat for the third die. That's pretty good odds. You don't want to.
I'll spend it. I'll spend those 2 threat into up in the comp.
So complication 4. Oof.
Yeah.
And I.
Comp
Yeah.
5 actually.
Oh.
Which it's at its max. I can't make it more complicated.
And I mark that. I also roll a comp 5, right?
Yes. So does the ship.
Oh God.
Yeah, we don't want to throw too many dice at this.
No, we don't. This is higher chance of complication.
All right, it's communication, so technical expertise does not apply here.
Yeah, technical expertise, computers, or
Sensors.
sensors. Yeah.
Dang, I'm not doing it. I can't. Oh crap, that's bad. Maybe we should. If we get 3 dice for Reika, I'm rolling 1 and the ship's rolling 1. Maybe we should use her determination, save her determination for a reroll. With that complication range of 5.
Yeah, I think that's
Because we're
valid.
already rolling 5 dice. I'm just worried about like 3 crits. Yeah, 3 complications.
We'll
I
get
wish
the
I was.
1 reroll with bold engineering.
Oh, she has bold.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Well, you're Reika. Do what you want to do.
It's your fault. That's what he's saying.
Pretty much.
Thanks.
I have given you my recommendation. But you have more experience in this system than I do, so go ahead.
And it's Rick. I'll put
It
Rick on the
doesn't-
map just so I know who's doing what.
I mean, here's the thing though, you could also re-roll it to a complication too. It happens.
true.
Very much.
We're FaceTiming Reika.
I'm gonna say we just spend the determination because I already gave the 2 threat. So,
Okay.
Here comes the money. Yeah.
Gonna
I know.
re-roll that complication.
Would I have a focus in computer systems?
I'm gonna have to say no in this case.
Gotcha.
All right, well, there's 5.
Which is
And what is the ship rolling?
communication security. Whew. Oh,
Okay, so we got 1 momentum. We'll spend another momentum to clear the complication.
Yeah.
So you got 1 momentum. You're spending another 1 to kill it. Okay. And your target was what?
4.
4. Okay, so do 4 for them to hear. I'm going to roll to see if they happen to hear it, but it's going to be open because it affects whether or not they get threat or not.
Sorry, we got 2 momentum.
So you actually have 1 more. Boop. So it's this roll. They don't know what the difficulty is, but I'll throw 1 at it just because they want to try a little hard to hear secret communications. That's
Oh,
kind of the
man.
thing they don't want to be tricked with.
I rolled a 4. If
And
only I
if
had a focus.
it's a this and this for their ship, communication security. Okay, don't. Not enough. I get no threat from that. You now have secure encrypted communications with the ship, with the Andoril.
Okay. I'm gonna start talking to superior officer and telling him what. Sorry, suggesting.
What are you suggesting they do?
I'm gonna suggest that they start working with the Angle system, and to start setting up a tachyon on grid. And we think they're going to be around the J class planet in that system to try to dodge us. And I also just suggest that they set a position between Angle and Romulan in space to kind of intercept them if they try to leave. And then we will come along the other side and intercept between Angle and Andon's Landing.
So just to clarify, do you want them to? Well, actually, I know how I can word this. Do you want them to attempt the role to set up the tachyon, or do you just want them to be to assist you in making sure that you guys set it up your way, as well as setting up the blockade?
The way I understood it is we were going to set it up, but we're relaying through them because
Okay.
they're secure. That's the way
So
I understood.
If you pull off this presence command roll, difficulty 3, they'll set that up, and if you do any rolls that you're doing with Algol Prime, the ship will assist with their with the NPC crew, because the assumption is they'll try to do extra paperwork, and because they're on the scene and they can kind of help ferry your orders along.
Okay.
Put you in there just...
Presence command, focus in tactics. Since I'm not trying to persuade him, I'm just trying to say, hey, this is our best tactical option of capturing this Romulan in ship. I'm trying to present it as, this is our best option of achieving the mission.
It's only logical.
It's only logical.
We need the logic focus, you see. No, it's fine. I'm willing to take that.
I'll spend 1 momentum on cautious command, so I can reroll if stuff happens.
And your ship assists you with communications plus command, because your communications officer trying to make sure everything's being communicated clearly and nothing's being lost in encryption. To that effect, whoever encrypted it can assist as well. Whoever the main roller was, anyone who rolled on that roll. So Bane, Ryan, or Ryan didn't roll. Bane or Rayka.
What would we be assisting with?
Presence command.
Oh, I will assist.
Okay. Let's roll.
Persuasion focus?
Yeah, I'll let you have it. So far, so good. This is just momentum now.
Presence, command, and quick fail. Oh.
And the ship? Oh, the ship helps. Cool. So Captain Tiller, after a bit of convincing him and letting him know what you're trying to do, he does question you here or there. He gives his own suggestions, but you have the weight of your little strategy meeting, and his plan was basically just to gather info from the planet, and you're kind of diverting him. But your plan, in his words, is quite logical and seems a good use of his ship's abilities. So he is happy. Happy wasn't the word he used. He is willing to assist you in your efforts to achieve your mission, is how he'd word it. But
After
so in
we
effect, you do have his help.
after we end that comm, I look at Dr. Ryan. Did a Vulcan just compliment us about our logic?
More likely, mere stating the obvious. I tend to do that. I will take. You should take it as a compliment, though.
That's the first.
Vulcans give compliments.
I just pressed the hang up button again, just because when when it come out.
Wow.
Okay. So what do you want to do next, Commander?
Whoops.
All right. I suggest you get it started on creating our sensor fake out
The
out
detection
in the
grid?
cargo bay.
Oh, that. Okay.
Yeah, bringing the cargo bay.
Okay. And we are the ones to have to roll for the fake out. I meant the sensor grid too.
Yes, because you're the one that's they're just assisting you doing it.
Yeah. So do you want to do the sensor? Do you want to get the sensor grid rolling, or do you want to get the fake out in the cargo bay going first?
Quick analysis. How long do I think the timing on each of those is?
Which task again? Sorry, I was doing some bookkeeping.
Between the tachyon grid and the modifying the cargo bay to be smuggling.
You know what? We'll make it. We'll do this. We'll be nice. He lied. Oh yeah, I'm not supposed to say that part out loud. Sorry. We're gonna call it. Whoops! No, don't do that. No, don't read it aloud to me, computer. I can read. Thank you. They're both extended tasks, so I'll give you the stats.
Ooh, I'm good at those.
Fortunately, we am not.
As long as these are engineering.
We'll see. And we'll say that. And I would say both of those are the tachyon grid would be. Actually, I'll type this out so I don't. The tachyon grid would be a control science role to kind of set up the grid in a certain way. To convert the cargo bay into the fake out smuggling compartment would be a control engineering task. Arguably could make a daring engineering as well.
Okay. I can do the cargo bay pretty quickly within the nick of time.
If we start setting up the tachyon on grid, is there any chance that the Romulans instrument notice, hey, they're suddenly setting up all their deflector arrays to emit tachyons? Oh my god, it's a trap.
If you happen to roll a complication and you don't hit the difficulty, that is a real possibility. They might sense that something weird's going on. If you roll a complication but you still hit the difficulty, that just makes the process of achieving it harder, but that won't tip your hand to the Romulans, because a cartography branch messing with their telescopes, that's not weird. They do that on all the time. But if you miss the difficulty and get a complication, they're going to give the game up. Someone's going to say something over open subspace and give it up, or something silly like that, because they're not Starfleet, they're civilians.
Yeah. And right now They don't even know we're communicating with the cartography branch. That's the good thing about going through the other ship.
Yeah. Well, yeah. As you have it set up now, as far as they're the Andoriel is telling the bureau, hey, could you do this setup for us? We're doing an experiment. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, sure, and they'll just do it. But if there were complications, like this kind of looks like you're looking for a cloaked ship, like something silly like that.
Why would you look for a cloak? Oh no.
Like, don't say that over the comms. What's wrong with you? But yes, just laying out what could possibly and it's likely going to happen.
The way
Okay.
if for my recommendation, we get the tachyon grid going, because that might take longer than the cargo bay, and the cargo bay doesn't need to be done until we get to Starbase 21.
And we could also dock at Starbase 21 for a while while
That as
finishing
well.
our cargo bay. We have to make it
And-
look like we will generator on board anyways.
True. Okay, so let's go tachyon grid first.
Okay, and also with the tachyon grid, the Andoriel will be assisting with that with the smuggling cargo bay. No, it's just you guys doing it on your own. If you ever get to the starbase and you're still working on it, you can get the starbase to help you with it. But for now, you're kind of using your material, your personnel. So with the tachyon grid, I'll get the sheet for the Andoriel up so I can help you.
Would an astrophysics focus apply to that?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. I'd also like to buy an extra dice with momentum.
One extra die, one momentum.
Sweet.
Gained 2 momentum. Well, for me, 7 challenge dice. Try again.
I think we can do. There we go.
Two, three, four, five.
If we
5 on its resistance.
if we spend a momentum, can we turn those effects into piercing?
With 1 momentum, you'd create piercing 2.
I thought there was something we could do with the effects.
If you have a talent that does that, or by the roller, or by the ship.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's just a flat 2.
Would our ships improve sensors help with that? Don't we have those?
Aren't we using the other ship, Nebulous? Help.
Oh.
They're assisting, but their talents are about coordinating other ships or throwing out jamming. They're not really good at. They don't have a sensor grid of any kind. They don't have any talents that help with this. I'll put it that way.
What did our ship assist with?
I don't. Our ship didn't assist. It was the Nebula that assisted.
Oh, I misunderstood.
But yeah, if you spend 1 momentum, it'll up the work to 1, 2. It'll up it to 5 actually. It'll get you a breakthrough.
Do it.
Yeah, do it.
So 5 of 10. 1 breakthrough of 2. No, 2. Friggin' look at the one. Of 4. Diff now. The thing that you learn from the breakthrough is that this is something that the thankfully it's something that the Bureau can do, and it's something that they haven't clued in that that's what you're doing, that you're looking for cloaked ships, but it's a thing that they've done before. And the Nebula class kind of lets you know that this tactic's been pulled before in the past with other cartography stations. So this is very feasible.
Sweet.
You are down to, out of your intervals, you have 18 intervals left.
I'll go again using 1 momentum to buy another dice.
Okay. Do.
And that went off twice.
I'll just take the first one.
That's both the same.
Yeah, mounts are the same anyway. They do not help you. They don't hurt you, but they don't help. Your difficulty was 1, so you gained 3 momentum.
Okay.
Give me 7 challenge dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5. You have a breakthrough rate there, and you're going to complete the work track. So you'll actually get up to 3 breakthroughs total of 4.
Okay.
So that's finished, right?
You still have 1 breakthrough left. And mainly, this is I could spend threat to kind of try to up the difficulty, or and the other thing we're checking for is we're doing a what's it called, a complication check,
Mm. I don't like
because it
that.
amounts to a difficulty 0 task at this point.
I don't like the sound of that.
Maybe why.
You are sitting at 16 intervals. But this is a difficulty 0 task at this point.
Okay.
It's just a matter of time.
Then I'll go again. Yeah.
Whoops. Whoa. Stop. There you go. 1 float. And roll a challenge dice. We're just making sure you get at least 1 work in. So get more than 2 on 7 dice. You're fine. You got it. Tachyon grid is in place without the Romans being any the wiser, or in fact the Cartography Bureau being any the wiser. They're just doing a weird experiment, and they're like, okay, whatever. Sure, we'll set up our telescopes to do that. Why not?
I mean, at Starfleet, we do weird.
Yeah. You could be looking for space whales. They don't know.
Anything interesting coming through? Break quote ships.
I don't think it's been activated yet.
I think I do not want to activate then. Oh, what is it?
Checking messages. 1 moment. Whether or not they find something, you could ask them to do the pulse. You have it set up as what you have now. Whether or not you want someone to actually look for the ship now or not, that's your call.
I would not, because they have too many escape vectors, and we're not sure or that we can chase them down quite yet. So just have them fuss about and calibrate.
You're on standby.
We have it on. Yeah, we have it ready anytime we need it.
Just tell them not to deactivate it.
In effect, though, if you're trying to, if any ship in the system is looking, the difficulty, because they basically have assist from the planet in effect. So there's that. Whether or not you do it or you guys do it. But the question remains: what do you wish to do with your 14 intervals?
I guess I'm gonna set up the cargo bay.
Okay.
Um,
I'll bring that back down a bit so we can keep track of it easier.
okay. Difficulty 1. Well, I'll take 1 momentum for an extra dice.
Okay.
You know what? I take that back. I'll give you a threat.
Okay.
So I can use bold.
Take that back. Give
I
my-
also had 1 float. Just
that 1 float would have to be for that previous roll.
okay, never mind.
So if you wanted to ask an extra question as part of that, in relation
mind.
to that, you could.
Okay. So I've got 3 dice. Ooh, do I have focus in this? So right now, am I shielding the compartment? Is that what I'm doing from their sensors?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was your intention. You were trying to make it so they couldn't Well, actually, I am confused now that I think of it.
Yeah,
Are you trying to let them know? Are you trying to have it falsify that you have the cargo? Trying to
that
hide the
was
fact that
my
you...
thought.
Yeah, that's what
I thought I'm confused. Commander, are we making them think we have the cargo, or are we trying to hide the fact that we do?
And I stepped away at the exact wrong time.
No problem. So are we trying to hide the fact that we actually have the cargo and I'm shielding the cargo bay? Or are we making it look like we have the cargo when we actually don't and I'm faking them out? What are we doing? What do you want us to do?
Okay, so the Romans is now we're after the Trinimbus S device, and we're heading to Starbase 21 and to pick it up.
Yep.
Which means if they think we have it, they might come after us.
Yep. I had an idea to try to make a sensor ghost of the package appear in our cargo bay. So it appeared that we have it, but we don't actually, unless we do.
But then we have the issue of what to do with the actual device. Just leave it on Starbase Ace 21 for like 2 more days.
Well, it's been there already 17. It's up to you.
Let's do the sensor ghost so that way we can leave the actual device is on Starbase Ace 21. Let's not bring critical equipment into the field to be used as bait.
Okay. So I'm gonna do what I messaged you about then, GM. I'm gonna make the sensor ghost our cargo bay.
Okay. Same extended task.
Okay.
Because it's the same thing. You're modifying
Yeah.
thing of the cargo bay.
I'm not gonna activate it now though, because we haven't picked it up yet. You know.
And actually, weird thing, you can be assisted by the efforts of Minister Strand because for a good chunk of your journey, he was in there messing with it for the last while, making sure it was secure. So you might be able to look over his notes and see what he
Nice.
did and see if that helps you at all.
Nice. I will do so then. Okay. So yeah, I gave you that threat already.
Yes, you did.
Focus in computers, transporters and replicators, persuasion, starship power systems, holographic engineering. Maybe I'm making a fake one. I don't know.
I'll give you holographic engineering.
Okay. My hobby is paying off. Um. Okay. Control. Engineering. Resistance and magnitude. That's on the actual track. Yeah. Um. Difficulty was 1, so it's a momentum. Could
Strand, did you want
reroll.
to assist with this or?
Sure. What do you? What role?
For you, you'd be assisting with control security because you're the one who was setting up the security of that room.
Yes, my greed did pay off.
I don't know that I'm rolling any successes today.
And I used my bold to reroll that 0.
Yeah, because you gave me a threat.
My greed paid off, and I'm happy about
7 challenge dice.
it. Okay. And I have to remember to press enter.
You get used to it eventually, and even then you'll
Oh,
still
God.
goof it. Ooh, wow.
Okay, I'm gonna use a momentum to reroll those 5 dice.
Yeah, sure.
Holy
Oh, wow.
ouch.
There you go.
Okay,
2,
and then
4, 5, 6.
I have in the nick of time, so every effect is an additional work.
Oh, sorry. You're right.
So that's 6 work.
So 1 breakthrough.
Yep.
Yep. should
You have
I?
2 floats. Spend 1 float for
Yeah.
piercing,
Yeah,
and
spend
then
the floating for
Yeah.
piercing.
2 more momentum. So 1 float, 1 momentum for extra work, and that will get you 10 work, which should complete the work track and get you the second breakthrough.
Well, let's do that.
Yep.
Because that sounds fun.
Despite the note taking of the master, thankfully it wasn't hindering you, but for what you're trying to do, it doesn't really help what you're attempting.
Yeah, he was
Um,
trying to secure it. I'm trying to make it literally not secure.
Yeah. If anything, he was trying to make sure people couldn't see in there. It's like, no, I want you to see something in here, just the wrong
Yeah.
thing.
I'm
Yeah, no,
like,
you
look
have it.
here.
You have a false sensor ghost that you can activate. So you have that advantage sitting in your back pocket. Whoops, I got tagged somewhere. Uh, Commander Ray, to answer your Discord question, probably, but that's a conversation for you could call them now, or you could wait till after the mission's complete and give them the results of your success. Depends how you want to handle that.
I mean, I'm probably gonna have to explain to someone on the station. No, don't actually load the cargo. Just
Yeah.
leave it here for a minute.
We're just gonna
Uh,
dock for about an hour and then leave.
You're sitting on 12 intervals. Is there anything else you wish to do?
I want to check on our Romulan friend here.
Ugh.
Call her Cardassian.
Oh, you should do that to her face.
That's a blatant
will-
insult, but
I'm
No,
pretty sure
go on.
that's. Yeah, I know.
Call her Falcon.
Hey, Spoonhead, come here. I'm not even. Okay, so someone's gonna pay her a visit in her diplomatic quarters.
not
you.
old hashtag not old lady.
Is it just Ryan visiting the senator? Senator, the commander.
Commander. Ryan, you want backup in this? Little good cop backup.
I'm not really interrogating her. It's more like I'm checking
Okay.
on her well-being and maybe try hopefully some information slips.
All right. If you don't want on support, or I can. Yeah.
Okay, so you're based. My understanding is you're gonna try to chat her up with the intention of trying to get her to let something up.
Yeah.
Are you
Or
gonna try to do this in one go, or are you gonna try to take your time and make sure you get it? Put it this way: you can do this in one roll as a flat difficulty, and you'll get an answer to a question. Or if you do an extended task, you might get a more broad amount of information over the course of talking with her for hours on end.
just chit chat, She's a counselor. She likes talking. A little listening more or less.
Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna call this. Is there any information in particular you're hoping to get from her? Because this kind of changes the difficulty. If it's something benign, I'll be fairly low. But if it's something classified or state secrets, then the difficulty is going to go up. Because I'm looking at an extended task. I'm just seeing how hard I want to set it.
Her reasons for requesting asylum.
Doop.
If she's still really truly loyal to the Romulan Empire. And how her family's doing. What she thinks on current state affairs. There's broad range.
I'm gonna double check something here real quick. Make sure I'm not cheating you out of a perfectly good roll. I want to know. Does the Artemis have diplomatic suites, or is that the station?
That's the station.
Fudge. Okay, so never mind about that. Right. So I'm looking for this. This is probably going to be. It's going to be presence roll, that's for sure. Are you trying to try to psychoanalyze her sort of thing,
Oh,
like going
I'm
for that angle?
totally psychoanalyzing her.
So it's going to be presence medicine for sure then. Okay, so. Yeah, no, that's fair. Okay, just looking over the GM notes for about extended tasks just to make sure I'm not pushing it too hard. I think, or pushing it not enough for that matter. That seems fine. Yeah, that seems fine. We'll make it this instead, actually. Yeah. So work 12, magnitude 2, resistance 2, base difficulty of 3. So she's very guarded and not willing to say too much, and you are asking for her true intentions more.
Persuasion for a focus.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. And it's not a social conflict because she doesn't know she's being pried for information all that much. You just seem to be making conversation.
Take a threat, and I'm gonna spend 2 momentum if that's okay with everyone.
It's not okay with me, but it's not my momentum.
20, at least for now.
How much momentum you burn in?
2.
2,
I'm
1.
giving you a
2.
threat of giving you a threat because I have bold medicine.
Cool.
And since I'm psychoanalyzing her, I'm up the complication range by 1.
I'll up at another one as well.
Okay.
Nosy counselors asking me questions. I'm offended. I'm asking you the time of day. I know. Okay.
I'm just checking on your well-being.
Oh, it's interrogation. No, it's not an interrogation. Calm down.
Reika.
Oh, Reika's good at this.
Yeah, forgot to switch it.
That's what momentum gained. Seven challenge dice, please. Oh, goodness gracious me.
7. So
5 so far.
5.
Goodness gracious.
Spend the 1 gained for piercing.
For piercing, so that ups it to 7 of 12. With 1 breakthrough you've gotten so far, it does become obvious to you in the conversation that Venek is very guarded. She isn't being hostile to you right now, but you get the feeling that she is that you're not drinking from a dry well. There is something worth digging at here. And she's trying to obfuscate the truth with lies, like, oh, are you really loyal? Oh, not anymore, unfortunately. See, I have certain political yada yada, what's your true intentions? Oh, I truly want to be a son. Like, almost the lies are so bald-faced, that's kind of why you get a breakthrough. Like, that's how you get so much work. It's like the lie is so obvious that it's not really, the obfuscation isn't that thick, and you're kind of getting information that she's unintentionally telling you. But as it stands, you are at 10 intervals. After hours of conversation.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, take another threat. And what difficulty is 1 now, or 2?
It'd be down to 2, yeah. And you gave me threat, you're taking momentum?
No, I'm gonna roll 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna up the complication range by 1.
Up by another one. nosy counselors. Don't like them. They ask so many questions. Gained a momentum off that.
Spending a momentum to reroll 3.
Yep.
Seven again.
Uh,
So 5.
Complete sword track, and you had a breakthrough. So what you're able to glean from her, one thing, is she truly loyal to the Empire, like where her loyalties lie? Despite all her obfuscation and side talk, she is fiercely loyal. And this very much feels to her, this mission is very important. Who she's loyal to in particular, you asked her if she was loyal to the Empire. You get the feeling there's another, she is loyal, but you get the feeling there's a conditional in there. Like there's something she's loyal to within the Empire, to put it that way. What was the other thing you were digging at as well? You were digging at her true intention.
Yeah.
It seems the idea of buying time, that theory does hold up. That is what she's been trying to drag this out, and the fact that you haven't, the fact that you're willing to talk to her and she didn't tell you to leave, that was totally fine. She liked the idea of someone talk a measurable amount of time, even during conversation. She asks you, "What time is it, by the way?" You know, that sort of thing. Like she's very preoccupied with the passage of time. A lot of questions about where the current position of the ship is. How long will it take us to get to Starbase 21? Very much the intention seems to be twofold. One is definitely to delay the Artemis from getting to Starbase 21 for as long. It doesn't seem to be any specific interval. It's just for as long as she can. The longer, the better. The second is she seems to care about the Artemis in some fashion, but you don't get the sense that it's for any tactical or strategic reason. It's not like stealing the Enterprise. You're not stealing a Galaxy class, or in the 10th case, it's not like stealing the Expedition. You're not getting a Sovereign. You're getting a New Orleans, which has been out for a bit. The Empire doesn't need that, so it's not the class of ship. It's the Artemis itself that matters to her.
Could it be someone on the ship?
It seems to be the ship in and of itself, in its own intrinsic nature. There's something about it in particular that she wants, or whom she's loyal to wants. Sort of like to steal from a certain chess game. She's trying to steal the piece so it can be redeployed in another way. But if the piece has to be destroyed, then oh well. At least you don't have it. But she doesn't seem to care about the people. Like she treats you with contempt. She treats everyone that she's met with contempt. She has no care for the people aboard, just the actual ship.
And what did her thoughts of on Senator Kolick?
Kolick is a piece that she needs off the board. You get that feeling. You get the feeling that she needs her. She's not vital. Like she's been trying to trump it up as I need her. She's so important. She's a traitor. That's not it. It's more like she's inconvenient if she's still on the board. She kind of needs her off. If she's still there, that her plans are still doable, but not. They wouldn't go perfectly, and you get the sense that she wants this to go perfectly. And so far, everything has, except for her, because she's still on Enden's Landing, as far as she's aware. I'll say that she doesn't have any you'd get this for free, that she has no personal experience with the senator. She doesn't know the person in it. She has no personal vendetta. It's a professional detachment. Very much, this is a piece on the board I'm maneuvering, or trying to maneuver. You do have some momentum left, and you do have your counselor ability, as it were, so you can.
So I should have like technically, I guess, 2 from the psychoanalysis.
That's true. Yep. So you have 3 floating in the air that you can add.
And I also have studious, so that's 4.
4. Yep. So actually, 4 questions. Before I forget. Cool.
Kind of want to gauge like her thoughts of like why the Artemis is so, why she's so interested in the Artemis. You know, it's just one ship. There's a
And
handful,
this I will type out to you.
handful of New Orleans class vessels.
Straight. I think that if that's unclear, let me know. But that's succinctly what she needs the ship for.
Was everyone briefed on this Trinimnus device?
Yeah, it's one of the big like hooray things that the council's happy about because Senator Kolick was like, "Hey, I'm going to be bringing this thing, and it's going to help
What
all
does
the
it?
people in the outskirts and stuff."
What does it do?
It basically creates an emergency atmospheric shield away, so you can kind of create so you can build temporary a temporary colony without having a big like permanent bubble like the Ainden's Landing has. And this bubble is something that Romulans have. It's Romulan technology in particular, where they can basically put a temporary forward operating base, or sorry, a forward operating colony, and they can put it like anywhere, like on any hostile world. They normally don't lend this out outside outside of Romulan control, but she's pulled it in. The senator has said, "Well, there's Romulans here on Enden's Landing, and I'm trying to make nice, so let us use it until we can build a more permanent solution." That's why it's been so careful about it being moved around, it being escorted, because it's such a sensitive piece of material, and that's why you guys even care about why Artemis even cares about the device. That it will greatly improve the growth of the colony. Second question being asked. And I'll note as well that the Senate, and this is just harkening back to stuff that both the Kismet and the Artemis knows, this is something was approved by the Senate all the way back in the Roman Star Empire. So it's one of those things where it's like, and that kind of surprised people within Federation and the Starfleet. It's like usually the Senate doesn't approve stuff like that. Like when the Defiant got its cloaking device, they needed senatorial approval. Like the standing committee had to be okay with it. And this is one of those, the standing committee is okay with this. What's the max sensor range of a Dederadex? It's right up there with the Galaxy. It's pretty beefy.
So what are we talking? It would totally be able to detect us at Starbase 21.
Not that far. That's too far away. You're basically a sector away.
So about how many hours could we get close to Angle system before they detected us? Is like kind of what I'm trying to get here.
Once you get to the edge of the system, like the minute
So
you're like,
we could do what we were talking about in Discord and say, "Hey, we're going back to Andon's Landing," would actually be going straight to Angle, and they wouldn't see us until we got close.
The minute you dropped out of warp and entering the star system, your energy signature would give you away.
So they wouldn't
we'd
detect
be-
us until we got into the system.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The only way they'd see you otherwise is if they had like probes sitting on the outside of the
Which
system.
we currently have no indication that they have.
Right.
But at that point, we'd still be at the system. We wouldn't be 24 hours out. We'd be like
Right. Yeah.
a few minutes.
Yeah. You're within. Put it this way: you'd be on the tactical map. You'd be on.
So there we go.
To give you an
Moving-
idea, from and this is just the way I run it. Other GMs may have the distances differently. I have the sun, like Earth sun, away from Earth is like, well, it's at extreme range more or less, but it's on the board.
Okay. So yep, that's my plan. We tell them we're going back to Andon's Landing, but just head straight for them and see if they pop out.
What about your Nebula?
So I don't really have a fourth question, so I'm gonna
I say we tell the Nebula to head the opposite direction. In quotes.
Okay.
I want to have a conversation to Commander A, but I'm gonna thank Commander Venek for her time.
Oh, she thanks you for your time. You've been so informative. Not that you have, but you know.
And if she requires anything else, I'll be more than happy to accommodate her.
Except for the replicators. It's on the list, I promise.
Yeah, she's gonna ask the computer the location of Commander Ray.
Ray. Oh, where is Ray at? Most of the day is gone. Probably in your quarters, I'd guess.
Yeah, probably in my quarters at this point.
Okay, so I'll actually pull you to a side.
Still going over our tactical data. Yeah, pretty much I'm playing an interstellar poker or blind chess.
So you're at the door of the quarters for Commander Ray.
Chimes the doorbell.
Enter.
Commander, do you have a moment?
I look at the clock. I should probably be going to bed soon before we arrive at Starbase 21. But I suppose I have a...
I just had a chat with Commander Vinnick. Just to see if she did anything or, her needs were being met too. Though in our conversation, obviously I get, she's stalling us for some unknown reason to arrive at Starbase 21. However, I get the feeling that she's not interested in the device. Maybe she's more interested in the ship itself, the Artemis, for some nefarious means.
What makes you say that?
I talked to her about the senator who's on Andon's Landing. She, viewed her as treasonous because of the device itself. That it belongs solely to the Romulan people, though I don't think she really cares whether or not Andon Landing has it. She seemed very adamant that she wants this ship.
Why? This ship. It's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a good ship, but it's not exactly a sovereign class.
True. I mean, the Artemis offers no technological advances for the Romulan Star Empire. However, you have to think of where we operate from. Perhaps she's interested in some nefarious means to use the Artemis for.
Use the Artemis as a means to get to Andon.
Well, clearly, they have a cloaked vessel and they can do that at any time. It's for something else. Something that makes our presence known, perhaps.
Can I make some sort of insight roll, see if I can shake these puzzle pieces together?
Thinking. You can give me insight, command, or security, hilariously. Difficulty of we'll make it 3.
Okay, 1 momentum for extra dice and caution.
Okay.
Focus in tactics. I'm trying to figure out what their game plan.
I would have to increase the complication. If you use
Okay.
tactics.
Would cultural studies work? Figuring out the Romulan mind.
Yes, but not for that reason.
Okay.
But it would apply for a funny way.
It would apply in a. Oof. Okay. With cautious, you can only reroll 1, correct?
Yep. So you have to hope for a crit. Oh, come on.
There it is.
Well, what I'll do, I'm going to pull up a certain tactical map. Actually, I'm gonna pull up something we haven't used in a bit, the local space map thing I used to use. This is the current position of Andon's Landing. The USS Artemis's mission is to assist Andon's Landing and the colony, and to protect it from possible threats, and also to assist in its growth. Culturally speaking, there are, and I'll zoom out a bit more, if I can do that. Whoop. The Roman Empire, being all the way over that way, is quite distant from this whole end of the Federation. They don't have a lot of influence over there. At best, they might have had some relations with the Cardassians, but it's 2 intelligence agencies who will share with each other what they want. But now they have some influence here in Andon's Landing because they have people there now. It's not a lot, but it's something. And strategically speaking, Andon's Landing is in a position where it can influence affairs. With the Talarians, Tholians, and the Cardassians. You also know from fleet reports that currently the Federation and the 10th Fleet are in efforts to help the Cardassian Union reform. And there are some complications that are coming from that. Nothing, as far as I understand. Correct me, Dr. Ryan, because you know the expedition's missions more than I do. But nothing that's pointed at the Romulans could be a complicating factor.
No.
So there isn't anything like that. But if the Romulans wanted to be in on that game, they could be, because of Andon's Landing, because they're close enough now. Because otherwise they have to basically reach across the entire Federation to do things involving that, and that's cutting through the core of the Federation, as opposed to Andon's Landing, where it's not as far a trip. So they could be influencing Cardassian Union, the Tellurian Republic, or the Tholian Assembly in some fashion. Because strategically you matter, and you're kind of the ship in this corner of space right now. The Tereshkova and the Expedition are involved in this region, and the 10th Fleet in general is based out of Starbase 21. So any ship of the 10th kind of reaches all these areas. On a stretch, you might be involved with something to do with the Klingon Empire, although that seems the Kismet's the one that's more involved with Klingon Empire nonsense right now. The Artemis hasn't had Klingon relations beyond a mercenary house, which frankly the Empire isn't going to stick their neck out for some mercenary house. That doesn't compute. The puzzle piece doesn't fit. So it's it's not the Klingons. So it has to do with someone close to Andon's Landing or something on Andon's Landing, because the Artemis being involved in something matters on that regard, or could matter in that regard.
So either are tied to the Tholian Assembly, the Tellurians, or the Cardassians. If I remember correctly from the Dominion War, the Tal Shiar and the Obsidian Order did have that hilariously inept mission at one point.
Yeah, they're way weaker than they used to be no more than a decade or so ago. They still exist now, and actually not that long ago there was a civil, not a war per se, but the Romulans had a civil problem that involved the Tal Shiar, and it didn't go off the way they planned. So yeah, the Tal Shiar are not in a great position right now, and the Obsidian Order, there's rumors it probably still exists, but because to put it in contemporary terms or in real terms, Cardassian Union is kind of in that sort of post-war Germany, if you get what I mean. That sort of, they need to be rebuilt a bit because they kind of got, the war didn't really do them any favors, especially at the tail end of the Dominion War. That really didn't go for them. So the Federation's kind of helping them rebuild, but the Obsidian Order might try to make use of that rebuilding time to do something. What that is, no one really knows yet, but it'd be something they would do. It's totally in their modus operandi.
So they're just using Andon's Landing to plant a flag on this side of the Federation.
A bit more than that. They're taking them being there is a flag. They have to be especially paranoid. There's probably at least one or two Tal Shiar that might go out there at some point for a mission, because they have a base that is Romulan that they can kind of operate out of. It's not fancy, it's not a military base, and they'd have to be super careful anything they did, but it's somewhere to stop. It's an oasis in a desert, to put it that way. But to take the Artemis is another step entirely. That's one step beyond planting a flag. And if the Artemis is caught doing something it's not supposed to, or it's made to do something it isn't supposed to, that could influence politics in that with those three powers.
Because we're the Federation, we're the Starfleet influence in that area.
Yeah.
So if we do something terrible, Starfleet might be forced to pull out for diplomatic reasons, weakening Starfleet's presence and leaving a Romulan presence unchecked.
And it makes the 10th expedition's mission complicated, because you're kind of one of the few dedicated 10th expeditionary garrison ships. Most of the other star bases are kind of very focused in their local area or in big picture operations, but you're the 10th fleet station in this corner of space. You're their early warning system in this whole area. That's why you're in the 10th. That's why 10th expeditionary ship is assigned here, assigned with Andon's Landing at all, rather than just some other fleet or some other protectorate fleet.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see the picture. So, the Romulans have a special interest is in Artemis. The only thing that's special about the Artemis, this is Andon's Landing. If they get a hold of the Artemis, they might be able to remove that piece off the board. Remove the Artemis from Andon's Landing and Starfleet from that sector.
Or perhaps start something with one of our rivals too if they capture the ship.
That is also an option.
My Vulcan teacher would be happy with me right now. Using logic, that is.
So, we have our. So we realize that the Trinimbus device itself isn't the goal, but the Artemis itself. So, what does this mean? Aim for the Malar. Is she designed? Is she here to capture us, or no? Wait, they were stalling.
Or
They were stalling.
perhaps they were laying a trap for us. More clever one to make sure we didn't get damaged since we didn't fall for the last one.
No, if they had a proper trap that would spring it right now, I don't think they're trying to keep us away from the Trinimbus device. They're trying to keep us away from Andon's Landing. I want to get a communique to Andon's Landing in right away.
So Commander Ray is gonna like walk over to a panel to try to arrange that.
Commander, I mean, this device is very important to the colony. This would affect relationships if we don't get the trend in this device.
Which means once we get the Trinimbus device, the Malar is going to try twice as hard to keep us from delivering it. And I'm still attempting to hail Andons.
You get a give me insight engineering difficulty.
Do you want me to secure it?
This isn't him communicating yet. He's realizing he might realize. Hail.
Insight engineering. What's the difficulty?
1.
I'm not sure if I have any focuses that.
Something like subspace communications, astrophysics, that sort of thing.
Only thing I think of is tactics of them trying to use subspace communication to jam us, or interstellar or law.
I'll give you tactics that increase complication because it's tangentially related to what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I'm thinking about.
I'm not sure if that's gonna help. Difficulty 1. You know what? Let's do it. And I'll use momentum for extra dice.
Cool.
And I'll use a.
Oh, hey, 2 momentum gained. You know that given the distance you are from Andon's, it's going to take a bit of time for them to respond back because there's a lag of subspace communications because you're basically talking from across like 3-4 sectors, so it'll take you'll have a bit of a wait, so it won't be instantaneous. but you'll
Yeah, I
probably
kinda
get
figured.
you'll get a response back before you get to Starbase 21.
Yeah, I kind of figured there wouldn't be a real time communication. So, yeah, I'll just ask them for a status update.
Okay. So you send that off. Anything else Ryan or Ray wish to say to each other before we move to the next scene? Because I spent 8 threats, so I'm moving the scene after this meeting.
Let's just hope that whatever the Moir can do to stop us, this won't be too interesting.
Of course. And Dr. Ryan leaves the room.
Go down 1 momentum. And as we go over to the Romulan ship, I'll say on a meta level, you guys have done well so far. So now whether that will continue remains to be seen.
Time to self-destruct.
Minister Strand, how are you doing?
I'd be doing a lot better if that door was welded shut.
There could be a roll. You could roll for it, or you could throw 2 momentum at it to have it sealed by this point.
I'll roll. My rolling is bad, so momentum conservation is a thing.
Control security difficulty 2 to create the advantage of sealing the door. Is what I'll say. Oh, something didn't agree with my stomach. Ow.
1 momentum.
1 momentum.
Hand phasers.
Yeah. Whoops. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. There we go. That gets you a momentum. See, now you roll well. I'll put a thing there to indicate that you've sealed that passageway. Boop. Boop.
Is it possible that this could also help with the task that I'm doing, since now I don't have to worry about accidentally opening this door? I can just open every door on the ship.
The interval changes because they're going to break down that door a bit.
Let's try to get past that problem. Let's try to solve this before we get to that area.
So you're going to try to open up the doors. Yeah. Okay.
I'm kind of committed at this point. It's do or die right now, quite literally.
And actually, just
Don't think Romulans arrest people.
Sure they do. They just interrogate them in the most humane. Wait, they're not humans. In the most Romulan way possible.
That's not exactly comfort.
Just to give you an idea of how much is expected to happen to you outside that door. So you are going to be. It's going to be an opposed roll with the crew of the ship. So yeah, they have 1 free difficulty because you're trying to override their the bridge effectively from the computer room.
Oh, so we've changed from the extended task to this?
It's still extended. It's just that the difficulty is depending on how well it fluctuates. But you getting a certain amount of magnitude and work will change whether or not you succeed. So the amount of work, let's figure out. So diff is question marks. But what would be the other numbers for this? I did write it up earlier, but it's fine. Here. It's going to be a control engineering or control security, actually. Either of those work for what you're doing right now. Say it's this. We're going to say that makes sense. We're going to say the work is this. As for intervals, each time you make an attempt and you do some work, those guys are going to make an attempt to break that door down. Actually, sorry, I'll take that back. You get at least one free roll because they have to get there first. Then the roll after that and every roll after, they're going to be trying to get the door down. Because now there's a security alert about your location, and you've just sealed the door on them.
Yeah, 1 momentum, and do I get infiltration still?
Not anymore. They know you're up to something now.
Combat tactics, maybe?
I'll give that to you, yep.
Oh my god.
You're having great luck tonight, I swear. Where's my ship? There it is. You threw a momentum. I'll spend a...
We don't have any.
Mm.
Yeah. That's why I'm only using momentum.
And they're combating your... This. So there's a computer, your security. So it'd be this and this. I gain 2 threat.
I thought that was setting the difficulty.
Yeah, and you failed. It's an opposed check.
No, but I thought it was determining the difficulty for the task above. So does that mean it's 2 difficulty now, or what?
No, each time you're rolling, the difficulty of the extended task changes each time you attempt it, because it depends on how well they're doing at the time. So this time, the difficulty became 2 versus your 0, so they were able to lock you out for now, but you can attempt again.
Okay.
Oops, too loud. Quieter, please. Thank you. Oh, okay. That's a roll. You spent a momentum, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. Boop. I'll spend 1. Why not? Oh. Well, you get at least a momentum. And you can ignore resistance. Because they kind of made it easier for you. Or actually, I can either make it so the resistance goes away, or they have to spend extra time trying to get the door down, so they don't make an attempt to break it down this time.
Yeah, the second one's fine.
Okay. Oh God. You are looking at so far.
Yeah, 1 for piercing.
So goes up to 6. That's a breakthrough.
Does that negate their advantage since I've gotten a breakthrough, so now we're even difficulty?
Yes. Because now you have you effectively have created your own station.
Okay, and I'm gonna roll 1 more time, consequence free, and the next time is. Are they gonna?
So the first roll you did, they didn't get a try to break down the door because they had to get there. This time they didn't get the roll because they rolled a complication and they're wasting time setting up.
Okay.
Why do I keep closing the window? I need it. Freaking there. Give me the. You beat them by 1. Get a momentum.
Rerolling. 4.
Yep. 2, 3. 5, 6, 7. That's still a breakthrough. That's 5 work at least. Puts you up to 11 of 15. And what was your magnitude again?
It's 3, so I still got 1 round to go.
Okay, so they get 1 chance to try to break down the door. Good luck, guys. I don't think you're gonna get it in the first go. All right, well, you hit it. So roll be this much damage. You hear disruptor fire at the door, and you hear explosion. You hear the clanging of metal banging against the ground. So they're not in yet, but they they might start pouring into the room next attempt.
Can I hold off on continuing the task? Take one of the blasters. It's not Star Wars. One of the phasers off of the 2 Romulans that I killed and attach it to the door. And then, is there something I can stand behind or hide behind?
Probably, yeah. You could probably like duck behind a door or something, or behind a
Okay.
panel.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of assume that they blow the door, and in the process, hopefully, maybe I can set it up where it's a real sensitive phaser, and they'll blow that, and that'll cause some damage, and then I'll already be in cover if a firefight still breaks out after that.
Oh, okay. You're basically setting up a trap when they're blowing up.
Yeah, and I'm putting myself in cover from both the trap and from them when they pour in the room.
Let's make that a daring security roll, difficulty 2 to create the advantage.
Take it through it.
Sure.
Combat tactics.
Yes. Oh, that's a momentum.
Oh, my stress goes back up because we've had a scene.
Yep. All right, so you've set up the trap. So now what you have is they're going to try to roll. They're going to try to make a roll to. I don't know if they even do that. I don't think they'd care because they wouldn't think you did that. They think you would just seal the door.
Before they make a roll, is it possible to establish that I already have the phaser rifle ready so I don't have to spend to get it out, or am I going to need to do that regardless?
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
I'll give you that. You know what? I'll spend 2 threat fairness, so they'll have a roll with you to see if someone in their team is smart enough to look for a trap. However, it's opposed by you because you might have thought ahead of them and placed it in a place they wouldn't think to look. It's going to be your daring security versus their insight security.
Does combat tactics still apply?
Yes. And if they fail this, they're going to hit it. They're going to set it off and blow it up.
1 momentum.
Sure. I spent a threat. On the plus side, you hear disruptor fires. They keep shooting at the door, and then you hear shouting on the other side. Stop! 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 So you effectively have another round to do something because you can hear them talking, and you get the feeling that they must have figured out that there might be a trap, and now they're going to go slower. But that also means you have more time to set up.
So I did place it on the door, and I'm still assuming they're by the door. So I'm just gonna try to, I guess, really bravely or really stupidly turn around, shoot it, and try to roll back before I get blasted away.
So what you'll do, in effect, you can fire from cover. So you would fire from cover, and then if it blows up, you'll have the cover is going to give you resistance dice
Okay.
to roll. because it's gonna when it blows up, it's gonna affect you and them because it's kind of
Okay.
right there between your two rooms. So you hit a difficulty of 2, really.
Then since I have, since this is an action, can I use aims to get Deadeye Marksman?
Yes.
Okay, so difficulty 1. And hand phasers.
Yes. Well, yeah.
I'm rolling just enough not to fail and die. Not enough to succeed, but not enough to die either. Just kind of the nether region.
So, good God. Well, that's gonna blow up. So roll for me.
It's
When-
it's a challenge dice per 1/4 of cover.
I'm sorry. Oh yes.
Cover is a challenge dice per 1/4 of cover.
You have 2 challenge dice. You have half cover because I'm assuming you're hiding behind like a bank of computers or something. Roll for me. Your security plus 4 challenge dice for damage.
Oh, I have a phaser type 2 on my sheet. I mean a plasma rifle on my sheet.
Is it a 4 die?
Yeah.
For plasma rifle?
Rifle
Oh, it is.
or
Yeah.
4. I mean, I don't have the plasma rifle. I should have just rolled the type 3 because I also have that on my sheet. I have
Yeah.
all of the weapons on my sheet, or all of the relevant ones. But yeah. So.
So this is an area attack effectively. So the guy right next to the door is taking all that damage, and he's 1 delta. So that's 1. Oh, is it 1 or I'm gonna double check.
No. So everyone who is in close is in like hand reach. If you could touch them, you automatically get hit. If they're in close range, which means they're basically like 2 arm lengths away, that would be require a challenge dice. So if I was looking at it, it would probably be the first guy would be the guy that the damage happens to, and then the second 2 guys are caught by area, and then one of the back 2 guys is caught by area, but one of them gets away scot-free.
So I'll say probably these guys are right next to the door. So these 2 front guys. And these 3 are within close range of the door.
Okay, yeah, if you're rolling it at the door, then yeah.
Because that's where the boom's happening.
Then it would be 1 person out of those 3 that got hit.
So we'll say this guy. Actually, let's make my life easier. So those guys. Okay, cool. That's the damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cool. That's
But it's not the plasma rifle, so don't pay attention to any deadly or intense stuff.
no. Although I will pay attention to vicious because it was a disruptor. So that's 1 extra.
Oh yeah, the disruptor was what exploded. Yes.
So, I think these guys have armor. But it's not Klingon armor.
I mean, I'm gonna take an injury.
Yeah, you guys aren't fucking. Can I give you armor? Wait, I don't have threat. It wouldn't matter. I can't give them armor. I need threat to give them cool things.
Romulans probably start out with a base of 2. I mean, a base of 1. Base of 1. Because Klingons start out with a base of 1.
Base of 0.
Oh wow. Oh, this is not TOS where they walk around with them helmets.
No. They're civilized now. So, he goes down. You go down.
I'll give you 2 threat to stay up.
As massive explosion. You can hear the scream burned by the disruptor explosion, and you get even with the cover, you can feel your face being singed by the explosion.
Definitely, if I had just waited for them to break the door, prepared an action to fire the rifle, this would be so much more effective, and I would not have taken damage. But this was the more Rambo way. There was a better tactic here, but no time to think.
You win, so they're gonna go. Unless you want to give me threat for a swift task to do an additional action.
Would I
increase
actually be able
difficulty.
to shoot one of them?
They'd have effectively 3 challenge dice of cover because you're kind of having to crane yourself and fire at a really bad angle to hit like this guy. But in theory, you could hit him. He just has a lot of cover because you're firing at a weird angle. And he would effectively be medium to you. So the difficulty's 2. Oh, sorry, it'd be up by 1, so 3 because it's a swift task. If you fired right now.
Um. Yeah, I'll take the shot.
Okay. It gives me 2 threat because you have no momentum to give. Div 3. Sorry, that's Div 3. I'm right.
I thought you said it was 2 because it was in medium.
It's +1. The base of 2 +1 because of swift task.
Okay. Would you take another threat for so that I could do aim and use Deadeye Marksman?
Sure. I'll take more threat.
Okay.
It looks like I'm mildly desperate for it. Because I spent it all like a smart person.
I really only want to get shot once, so I'm gonna take another threat for the not bold. I don't have bold. I'm supposed to be just a constable, so I have bold command, not bold security.
You're the one that snuck on board a Romulan warbird. Don't yell at me. That's a hit, and you actually get 2 momentum.
I might do devastating if there's enough damage to take out the second guy. I might spend 2 on devastating attack, but I'll have to see how much damage there is.
I thought devastating hurt the guy you hit or something like that.
Oh, maybe it is. I may be thinking of
Starships.
I do too much starship combat with spreads and all that. Like, oh, secondary target is a thing.
Oh, okay. So right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have 3 resistance currently because of the cover.
So they're still taking 5, so he's gonna go down.
Yes.
Second guy takes.
Is it 2 momentum for secondary? I assume so.
It is 2 for secondary. The only thing is he's gonna suffer half, rounding down, which means he would only take 2 damage. He would take 1 damage.
Okay.
That's not worth it.
Okay, so you're gonna hang on to it.
Yeah, I'll hang on to it.
Okay. Okay, that was not cool. You just downed all his friends. He's super not happy with you right now.
But is he brave enough to come in there? Does he have it in him?
Actually, you know what? He really doesn't like you, and he just happened to go to the locker on the way here to get himself a disruptor rifle. So he's gonna come in.
Yeah, goodbye, folks.
He'll spend an extra minor to move into some cover because he sees you have a rifle. That's not cool. And he's gonna try to shoot you. Difficulty of it amounts to difficulty 3 because you're both effectively in close range. You're firing at each other in a enclosed space, so this is kind of clumsy. But he didn't want to shoot from the hallway because you have cover in there and he doesn't out there. So that's kind of a good thing for him. Romulan dude, there's not a whole lot I can do for you. What can I do for you? I'll buy you an extra die, I guess. How's that for an idea? Could you have aimed?
I would cost one more threat.
Yep, aim. That's all I can do for you. Good luck, buddy. Don't miss.
Oh, I forgot to be actually using the benefit of my aim. Can I make 2 rerolls to see if I get momentum from the 2 shots I made?
I'll be generous. Sure, why not?
Okay. Because my brain was thinking just the benefit of aim being that I got to use Deadeye Marksman, but it has its own benefit.
Swift
I
task
did it.
yet again.
I don't think I could do 2 swift. I already did 1 swift task.
Yeah, and you can. I don't think you can repeatable swift task.
I can't keep the initiative
Yeah,
because
you can redo swift task, right? You just can't keep the
Swift
initiative.
task isn't something you can repeat.
no, it's not repeatable. In the book, if you look in the cost section, there's a 1 or a 2, and then there's an R next to it, and that tells you if it's repeatable or not.
Yeah.
I see that.
Good thought, though. I think that's what Ryan was hoping too. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so let's see if you got any extra momentum out of all that nonsense.
Oh, that would have been 3 momentum I got.
Oh, you did roll it. Whoops, I spaced on you there. Sorry. Whoops, not to everybody. That's not what I want. Thank you. All right, friend, you're rolling 3 dice. Actually, you're not rolling as a starship. Yeah, we'll just do that. Let's make life easier. Make my life easier.
Really bad cover roll.
He'll re-roll that 1 because why not? Actually, he needs to. Come to think of it, and he hits you.
Oh.
And to make your life more, as a note, rifles, disruptors have vicious 1.
Yeah.
So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Nope, that's it.
Yep. I believe you are thudded to do. You're injured.
Can I will myself to die? With the death before dishonor value?
Don't disruptors have the disintegrate thing?
No. The only weapons that are defaultly lethal are knives and Andoria plasma rifles.
In the Star Trek lore, yes. In STA mechanics, if I wanted to try to kill him on purpose, I'd have to spend an additional threat to make it lethal. So the assumption here is that I shot him and he went down.
He could spend it and it would be lethal. But it wouldn't make me beyond saving anyways. They could still technically revive me if they wanted to, even if they shot me lethally.
Did it go past your stress? Like, did you zero out? Okay, then that's 2 injuries. 1 is lethal right now.
Yeah. You're already in dying mode as it is.
If the shot was lethal, that's 2 lethal injuries, which means you'd be dead.
You're probably disintegrated at that point.
Yeah. But it takes 2 lethal injuries to kill a player character, or any character for that matter.
Do it.
Well, I'll put it to you this way, Minister. If you want the character to die, and this is a narrative point you think it'd be cool for him to die, then this is a good point for him to die. Or for all the momentum on the table, someone's going to do something and he will be recoverable, but he will be very badly injured, as in he'll have a negative quality of a sort, a negative trait. Something I've done for Penn when he's when I blew up a ship on him.
Can I use all the momentum to, like, dying action, like, override the rifle and kind of blow up their whole control room here?
You could.
I want to do that.
Okay.
If you want to take that as a narrative action.
Yep.
Taking him with you, I like it.
Oh, I don't care about him. It's maybe I'll stop them. It's gone from I had a plan to tit for tat.
In his final moments, he begins overloading the rifle, slumping to the ground, and then the entire room is awash in plasma fire as his rifle explodes and starts overloading various systems in the room. Which this room is
like
not.
a cloak.
This room is shielded for like damage and stuff. It's very heavily shielded from outside attacks, not inside. Like someone's setting up a bomb in the control room.
So I'm wondering, there could be some kind of cascade here because I disabled all of the emergency force fields on the ship. So containing this fire is going to be difficult.
Yep. So what I'm going to note on their sheet is that they have a breach. For certain. They have one there, and they have one there. And they now have a problem aboard the ship that if they don't deal with it, it's going to become an issue. So, yeah, we can do this. We're going to cut to the Artemis Bridge here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull this person off. As the Artemis is being hailed. At this point, you guys are about... You're coming up on Starbase by this point. You've had some time some of you've had some hours to rest and recover and kind of... you guys were burning the midnight oil, trying to get all these plans set.
Mm-hmm.
At which point you get a hail from Algol Prime.
On screen.
Whoops, way too big. Oh well.
Oh, that's Captain. What's his name?
Talar.
Yeah.
Commander Ray. This is Captain Talar with the Endoriel.
Too many and names. But anyways.
We have found your warbird.
Did you activate the tachyon grid?
Not quite. Apparently, as we were getting ready to communicate with you to see about your intentions, there was a explosion near the gas giant. So we raced over to investigate what the explosion was. The explosion seems to be what it amounts to a critical failure of a singularity-based drive. Investigations show that there was some sort of uncontrolled plasma fire that erupted aboard their ship, at which point a cascade effect destabilized the ship and resulted in their destruction. Although my security officer suggests that perhaps the fire started first, and rather than be disabled, they destroyed their ship rather than risk capture from us.
Were there any signs of an escape pod or survival?
No, there are no escape pods at this time. In fact, when it comes to vessels, they tend to allow the singularity to wipe them all out so none of them can be captured. My deductions from earlier are from our sensor previous. They didn't mean anything to us until we noticed the singularity destruction.
I kind of deflate in the chair. I had an operative on board or the vessel who was trying to covertly recover information from them and possibly sabotage the ship. Apparently things do not go well, and he started the plasma fire to disable the ship. rather than. Yeah.
My condolences. Is there any further assistance you require of my ship? Some of his crew give him a look like, but they don't say nothing. It's a Vulcan captain. What are they gonna do?
It's a fucking captain. What are you gonna do? With the Romulan warboard are no longer in the sector, I have no further need of your ship. I thank you, Captain, and for diverting and helping to secure the sector.
Very well, Artemis and Duriel out.
Artemis out.
I imagine the bridge is just quiet for a few moments.
Distance from Starbase 21. Or time to Starbase 21.
2 hours, sir.
Very well. I will be my I'll be in my ready room.
Fitness medicine roll. Difficulty 1 for Ryan, Bane, and Jackson. Difficulty 2 for Ray, as it has become very apparent that a person you knew died.
Is this for like being sad?
It's for mental distress.
I'm gonna argue that Ryan doesn't have to because she doesn't really know the minister
don't
other
think we
than
ever
by
met.
name. Yeah, we've never met.
Yeah.
I'll let you forego it, you heartless monster. Sure.
You
I
have
also-
my
I mean,
blessing.
it's
Yeah.
fine. I can make that roll easily. But just say it.
I only met the guy once, but I have extreme respect for him now.
I have never met him.
I mean, Jackson, if you want to forego it, but he's just
I'll
a
go
guy.
with
You never
makes
met him.
sense.
Sure.
Oh, but I'll argue the other way for Ray. One extra difficulty because Ray's now seen the death of. Like, there's mixed emotions because we're kind of getting on the same side, but also I shot him in the face and he remembers me shooting him in the face. So
That's why
there's
it's
torn
difficulty
feelings.
2 instead of 3.
Oh, here's a question: is his mom already out of jail, or can the commander no longer get her out of it?
That remains to
no.
be seen.
Oh yes.
I'm assuming the bureaucracy will just float over.
Yeah, but now he can't give his personal testimony. This is so fun.
Diffuse
Oh.
situation to resort in not resorting violence
said-
and
I-
starting a crusade.
I said I would drop a lot of those charges, but I never got to do that. So she's going to feel the full weight of the charges of shooting at me.
Yeah.
Commander Ray, that will be a no to the diffuse tension request.
I was mainly joking.
Can I assist him though, following him into the ready room, seeing the struggles he's been under, or make the roll for him?
If you want to follow, actually, you know what, Ryan, just out of all fairness, give me insight medicine difficulty 1 to see if your character caught that he was how distressed he was.
Can I argue for?
Psychiatry.
Yeah,
Take a threat.
sure.
Can I argue for a fitness command? Because I'm trying to, not.
I'll
He's
give
had
that
on
to
the
you. Sure, I'll
bridge.
give that to you.
Oh, thank God. I was rolling a 9.
Getting some momentum there. So yeah, Dr. Ryan, you sense when Dr. Ray goes on, it's that you can see the haunted look of someone who's gonna have to deal with something not too. Bane, Jackson looks unfazed because it's obvious with that role. It's like, well, he didn't know the guy. He's sad as much as he's sad of anyone else who dies in the universe.
Wait a
Bane
minute.
looks to kind of weathers the storm fairly well. stiff upper lip and all that.
Bane's
Can-
like, Bane has respect for the guy, but he went down good. You know what I mean?
But Ryan, you can see that you could go after Tell that
she's
taking it a
gonna
little harder
follow.
than everyone else. And in fact, the difficulty's 3 because I have enough threat.
Eh, fine.
All right, can I use some of that at momentum, like at least one for an extra dice?
Well, here's the way you can do it as well. Because Ryan's aware of it, two things can happen. Ryan can either assist you with the roll, or because of how certain medical rolls work, she can roll it in your stead using presence medicine
I
to kind of
believe your
talk you through it.
I think your presence medicine is much better than my fitness medicine.
15.
You can't.
Yeah, I'm rolling an 11.
Out of character. Please don't break down now. I need you to file this report first.
If I break 2 captains in the same weeks, I swear.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to write a letter,
Yeah.
and somehow
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish.
And somehow explain why a civilian and was doing a covert operation on a Romulan vessel.
He
Because
volunteered.
officially we never had the conversation.
Actually, most of the bridge officers know.
Yeah, like I beamed him over.
And
Yeah, they're-
did
I'm pretty sure we were in the middle of bridge when we talked about beaming him and the ramen captain at the same time.
I vehemently disagreed with it.
It was not unpublic at all.
okay. Hey, so he volunteered.
Yeah, take a threat and 2 momentum. Psychiatry for a focus.
Yes.
Oof.
There you go.
Okay, good. Oh god.
Thankfully, Dr. Ryan is able to talk you through your emotions, and feel free to roleplay that if you wish, but she has succeeded in preventing you from getting a lasting mental trauma. And for Bane and Jackson, just so you're aware, mechanically speaking, if you take a mental trauma incident and it never gets treated, it stays as an increased in difficulty to all tasks until it's resolved.
Oh wait, what? That's a thing? That's a thing? Oh god.
That's the
Holy
thing.
Oh my god.
That's from the science book.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, neither did I.
I thought we were
That
just rolling
happened.
something. I thought we were just rolling something so we could roleplay this moment.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we could have disappeared.
My job is
That's
important.
horrible.
That's
Yeah,
what
your
that
job
means.
is
Counselor.
your job is extremely important.
Thankfully, though, since you guys were only dealing with it would have been just a +1 to difficulty. If Ray failed that, it would have been difficulty 2.
Knowing that, I might have to go talk to the counselor later. Just kidding.
Yeah, feel free to
Well,
roleplay that.
Dr. Ryan, looks like your services are needed imminently on the ship.
Yes. I'm sure the loss of your friend is very tragic, but his death was not in vain. He did, in a way, save everyone on board this vessel and potentially on Andon's Landing. To the means of what the Romulans wanted, we'll never know, but he gave his life for a better cause, and let's take solace in that.
He died serving his people, serving his planet. It's the best any of us can ask for. I just thought we were fucking done with people dying with the Dominion War.
Unfortunately, death is a natural event, Commander.
You want to know the stupid thing? this isn't the first time I've watched him die.
You're referring to your talks with the your dealings with the anomaly.
Yeah, on one of the anomaly incidents, he died, and in another one, he actually shot me in the face. I only vaguely remember that.
I'm sure if you need time to grieve, I'm sure the crew will understand. Commander. If you need to talk anything out, I am at your disposal.
And to think, on this timeline, we were starting to get along. And I pull up his civilian record, and I'd like to start writing letters to the people who should be notified.
There's no one. There may be a couple of people who served with him, but there's no family.
There
Okay,
does
well-
when you look over the records, you do see that there's one person of interest. Council Leader Ware Chephalia.
I start writing in the black letter. Isn't there a certain military term for that?
I wouldn't know it.
Meh.
But you start writing your letter. The Artemis eventually will pull into Starbase 21 and retrieve its cargo and begin its journey back to Andon's Landing. And that will be the end of the episode.